Okay, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dames, everyone, good morning. Today, we're going to do the thing that we're best at, and that is we're deep diving into the Necromancer and all the builds. So, we're not only going to make one build, we're going to make all the builds for Necro that are still possible, viable, that you can have a good time with, the full package. I mean, we already made the triple golem, in case you haven't seen that yet with the new unique item, and it's quite brilliant because you have like 3 of these dudes. We got the Grave Bloom going on, and we can pretty much just zoom through having our dudes just permanently explode while we ourselves are undying. So that's already confirmed. That's working. That can do pit 75. Checkmate, right? We're good. Now we need to see though what other Necro builds are working, Mick, right? Do we have, like, does Bloodwave work? Is Bloodlands good? What about Bone Spear? Could we do Bone Spirit itself without the basic skills, for example? So which builds, right, do still meaningful perform and do a good job? That's what our job is today to find out. Because every class seems to have big problems, right? I saw Spiritborn struggling to rushing claw clear pit 65. The only class that seems to be overperforming is Barbarian, but that's clearly going to get nerfed the way it is overperforming. And Rogue is obviously bugged, so interesting times ahead, huh? When you consider this. And we get to see now which Necro builds can all work. Which Necro builds are then good for leveling, and for what do you need equipment or not. They gave us 3 golems, but they didn't give us more stash tabs. Honestly, I've been okay with stash tabs, mainly because I just have good stash tab management at this point. I mean, if I learned one thing from Path of Exile, it's stash tab management, right? I've gotten better at it. However, yes, I would not say no to 2, 3 more stash tabs. That's for sure. Because as much like as I take care of my stashes, I need to actually consciously do that instead of just dumping random things in and playing the game, right? So what I would like to see is actually meaningful stashes, I don't know, like something where I can put all the uniques in, something where I could put in all my runes, right? Some themed stash tabs as we have in Path of Exile. Something like that in Diablo would be nice, especially for runes, because otherwise they're always like weirdly around, right? I wish they buffed the Bloodlands build. Bloodlands might be okay-ish. We'll have to see. It did get some buffs throughout time. The problem is Bloodlands used to be amazing, right? The problem is that Bloodlands caused so many calculations in Season 1 that it was breaking the server. And that's the only reason why Bloodlands is now terrible at this point around. Because, well, it used to be so good, and they had to, like, limit how many artifacts Bloodlands can actually create inside the game, how many permanent objects. And that limitation actually led to the downfall of the lands itself, which is something they haven't fixed now since 9 seasons. Which is actually sad to say. Right? However, we will try out Bloodlands 2. We'll try out Blood Search. We'll look at how many uniques do we have to throw at the build to make it work. I played the Upper World in Hades 2 and went with the Umbral Flames and managed to beat the last boss on Olympus. Congratulations. So we still have to do that ourselves, so we'll definitely have to revisit Hades in the up and coming days and kind of like beat the overworld as well. I haven't yet had time to really mess around big time with that, sadly. So this is Golems. Golems work. What build should we do first now, chat? I mean, if we go back into the pit leaderboards, which builds used to perform good? So this season, obviously, we got the Bone Spirit, which doesn't work the way it works in here, right? So different build. We had in season 9, the top Necro finisher was Bloodwave. We got Bloodwave, 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 and we got Blight. I think our Blight requires usually an Eben Piercer to be extremely good, right? Actually not. The current Blight build did not even play an Eben Piercer. That is interesting. However, it only works if you have a good amulet, right? That's something to consider. I hope Bone Spear will become strong again. I found myself the helmet, the Deathless Visage, and with a greater affix, it's like at 9 or 10 ranks or something like this. So it is a lot of ranks to the Bone Spear. It's still not enough, sadly. You play Golems, but it feels weak. Don't know how to explain. For Golems, you need the Grave Bloom at 60%. No questions asked. You also do need to have Great Feast plus Reanimation. Again, no questions asked. Then Fell Gluttony, yes. The Ring of Mendeln is probably not even needed, because Ring of Mendeln right now is 2 ranks to Golem Mastery, which is 50% more damage, right? If we would have something else that gives us 50% more damage, we might actually not even need the Ring of Mendeln. Blood Moon Breaches, obviously, for the bonus damage multiplier, and then it's all down to your Paragon board, right? You need to get the Flesh Eater for the bonus. You have the Hulking Monstrosity for that 220% bonus damage. Attack speed for the 200%, right? That's really what it comes down to have like the meaningful notes going on for Rook. I know. Can you make it Corpse Explosion build? No. Corpse Explosion did get buffed, okay? And we will try. So don't get me wrong. We will try a Corpse Explosion build today too, so no worries. However, where is some patch notes? Here. So Corpse Explosion did get buffed. Corpse by 85 to 110%. Oh, that's that 25% more damage. And Blighted get up to like another 35% more. I'm sorry. 25 doesn't cut it. It would need doubling. Okay, so the 85% needs to go up to 200%. Then maybe then we could talk about a Corpse Explosion. Before that, there's no world. I'm sorry. What's your top 3 class prediction? Barb currently, but Barb is actually bugged and completely overtuned, so it's hard to gauge. Druid is somewhat nerfed due to the Grizzly Rage, and unless they alter Grizzly Rage, Druid is going to be weak. That's the problem, so they really need to alter Grizzly Rage. Necromancer should be top tier, too. Rogue is the problem that is completely bugged right now, so you cannot make a prediction on how strong will Rogue actually be, because the one build that's strong is completely bugged. What about Wizard? On Wizard, we have 2 builds right now that with absolutely topped out gear do pit 80-85. Avalarian. Sork is viable, however, is gonna be rough. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, we're gonna do Shadow Necro. So that's not gonna be our try. For Shadow Necro, we're gonna focus on Shadow Blight, because that should still multiply up like crazy. If you get the right affixes. So do I have a Shadow Blight Necro somewhere flying around? Let's double check. I have something. Okay, let's boost the character. Apply all boosts. By the way, interesting thing, Chad. You can now equip your whole character inside the training grounds. Rogue is bugged, yes, as in Blizzard needs to fix it. It's like Rogue is double dipping and negative Integra damage counting and other shenanigans. So it's not even remotely at a point where you would say, "Oh, this is fine." No, it's not fine. It's absolutely not fine. Okay, we're not going to be using mythics. So here you have an occultist altar. You have a jeweler here. We have a blacksmith anvil. So you get everything you need to actually make the perfect build and then instantly attack the target dummy, which is crazy to me. Okay, what do we need? We need class uniques first. Give it a mein Schatz. Nee, Schatz, ich bin jetzt gerade auf der Arbeit. Auch mit dir. Später. So. Danke. The Sorrow. Thank you for your 2 months of support. Appreciate it. Well, she wanted to have K-pop Demon Hunter pictures, right? Printed out. But I can't do that right now. I can do that later for her and print her some K-pop Demon Hunter pictures. Wait, we don't need. Oh well, the only class specific we need is Bloodman Breaches. Yeah, and only for the critical strike chance, to be honest, for 18.8% critical strike chance. For no other thing did you need this. I wonder if the melted heart, if the, I'm gonna keep that Reaper's Pursuit. We're gonna experiment around with it because I still feel like not taking the Reaper's Pursuit is a mistake. Unyielding Bonebreaker. No, I need a 200 sword. Oh, you know what's missing? The Obel Gambler. That's the only guy that's missing here. If I had the Obel Gambler, that would be absolute fire. Then we could like do so much. So let's put on the Reaper's Pursuit because 7 ranks to that is quite significant, right? I wonder though, if I go, like, let's put the skill points in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I might play this, but I haven't decided. What class would you recommend for hardcore next season? Necro. Necro is incredibly tanky, especially with minions. Barbarian will probably have the ultimate toughness, but Necro is actually at a good spot. When it was always at a good spot, tankiness wise. Wait, I might not play this. We need 1 necrotic carapace. Okay, Reaper's Pursuit is 20% more damage per rank of per shadow skill in the skill bar. So if I, for example, would play Bone Prison, I could get 15% more damage, but then I would have to play Bone Prison, right? And last but not least, Shadow Blight. Oh, this is going to be interesting because I need to, I need to temper shadow damage. Or is it fixed that corruption damage now works? Let's try that out for a second. I need to get the ring, which has... And I need to temper. So there's an offensive temper. There's the shadow damage temper, right? And there's corruption damage. Darkness still doesn't count. You still need to temper shadow damage on the rings, right? That shadow damage needs to be as high as possible. Because if you don't get the shadow damage tempers, right? You're going to be missing out on the multiplier. Because right now, the main damage that you do is Shadow Blight. See? Both rings, 160%. What build are we going to try? We're doing all the Necro builds, okay? So every single Necro build that exists will be done. We will really try which one does work on the PTR, which one has a realistic chance to work out, which one is just completely doomed for failure, and that's going to be our trials today. Okay, just really going through all the motions of the ocean to see what comes out. That has 30% attack speed. I think the attack speed is like a must to roll right now on a weapon. Anyone agree, disagree, Chad? So if I get like this weapon here right now, it has a maximum life, intelligence right. I need to reroll the damage, and it needs to be attack speed. Like here. It can actually be up to 20% attack speed. That's just nuts on a weapon. What Necro builds have you tried so far? Golem Necro. And the other build, the other classes, I know they're bugged. There's not actually, none of the other classes not bugged. So I'm not really messing around with them too much at the given point because it doesn't make much sense to play around with bug classes, right? Okay, we will need to do the blighted aspect. Obviously, his size is terrible right now, but it's gonna be fine. Blighted. Blighted is the most important one because it's 70% stacking damage. Then we need aspect of the damned. That is 55% more damage. We need the sacrificial aspect, which would be another 55% more damage. And we need to get the Shadow Blight, decay here. Okay, decay, damned, sacrifice, that. Now I gotta consider if I play Eben Piercer. Okay, so this is the moth right now, chat. If I play Eben Piercer, I get 20% more damage per shadow skill. If I now play only shadow skills in my bar, which I could, right? I could only put shadow skills in here. Then I would probably end up doing less damage than if I use an amulet. Because if we use an amulet, you could put the... It's like, it's a bit hard to consider. So let's say I would play an amulet, okay? Because the amulet could get the aspect of decay. And decay stacks 5 times, okay? So it's 75% damage, right? And it stacks 5 times. So if we have 75 times 5, we're sitting at 375%. And if we have 50 times 5, it's... 50 times 5, it's 250. So I don't believe that the Eben Piercer is giving me more damage than having the maxed out aspect, right? Which also means that you could play the Grasping Veins, which is another damage bonus of 50%. So actually we get 50% and we're like almost 200% more damage as than if we're playing Eben Piercer. Interesting, if you think about it, right? So that's something that matters. This means I gotta play Corpse Tendies, and I gotta move some points around. I mean, probably we gotta get the crit chance out here, that I can do this, and I could get myself Bone Prison. However, that is still not efficient. I still have to pull points out somewhere. Question would be if it's worth it to put 5 ranks on the... I mean, the cooldown reduction is 9 seconds. Shit, we might need the 9 seconds, right? Because we're going to be running out of tempers. It's harsh to consider, like, where are we cutting? I mean, best case scenario, maybe the armor, and then get here, like, the vulnerable damage to keep the barrier. Yeah, we definitely want a regular amulet. I mean, from the damage calculation standpoint, it really makes sense. And worst case scenario, you could roll a regular amulet to... is intelligence still a thing? No, wait, did they change intelligence percentage? Is that not a thing anymore? Oh. That is so good. Do you know why that is so good? But, like, so... At one point, it is so much less damage we're getting because getting 20 to 30% more intelligence is crazy, right? However, it's so free, right? Because we always had to go for this, right? You always had main stat, greater affix, or fucked. Main stat, greater affix, or fucked, right? There was never an option to go for anything else. Like, it was never even a remote consideration. Do I go for something else? No, main stat, blah, 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 or screwed. I mean, what they need to do now, though, is they need to change the weighting. We need to remove the resource cost reduction. We need to remove the healing received. We need to remove the essence on kill, life on hit, life per second. That is all like completely bullshit to be on an amulet because you never want this, right? There's never a scenario where you're going to say, oh yeah, I'm so happy we get this on the amulet, right? It's always going to be, fuck you. I really don't want that. I hate you. Okay, critical strike chance. We need to put this on every item currently because I need to see how high we can get the critical strike chance up, right? So critical strike chance, and last but not least, critical strike chance. How much would that be? So we got 7, 6, 5, 4, and crit here. That would bring us at a total of 55% together with the 18.8 from this, because otherwise, yeah, well, we need max crit, right? Minimum requirement for toughness overall. It depends on if you're playing barrier or not. That's the problem. So toughness is like at least 50k. At least 50k. However, if you're not playing barrier, it's more. If you're playing barrier, it's less. Right? If you consider a larger cup, well, this one is as big as my hand. What I have to say about cup size is, if I'm already making coffee, I'm gonna make it worth my while. Right? I mean, why would I make coffee and then just not get the most out of it? I think that's quite simple. I'm already gonna drink that, so give me the biggest available. What are we gonna temper on the amulet? Ah, cool. Yeah, I didn't think about it. If you get the amulet, we can also do a shadow damage temper on it too. So that's quite useful because now we can do shadow damage here as well. And that's quite nice. But we don't seem to be getting 63 shadow damage. Okay. Let's try out one thing currently. So if I remove the... I need to know how much percentual difference is this. So this has 63 shadow damage on. Okay. Right now my multiplier is at 0%. If I put on a 63, then we're sitting at 44. And if I put on a 56, so slightly less, we're at 39. Ah, shit. I really gotta make sure to get the max rolls, right? I wasn't like, do we have to try to get higher? But that's like, that's a big difference. And that you definitely have to try to get as high as possible. No questions asked. $61, yeah. Problem is that with these 3 items, we're sitting at 123. And the issue is that on your main weapon, you obviously need to get the shadow damage temper as well, right? So we would love to have Titan's Fall or Finality, because that is multiplicative more damage. Is this season really a big change as they announced it? Oh, it is a huge change. If that is good or bad, that's something to discuss for the future, right? So it's ginormous change. Humongous. Big bad booty change. But it will still have to show after the fine-tuning how good or bad it is. Because right now we do certainly need quite some fine-tuning still. Okay, so we get all of this going on. Let's put the Paragon points in, because I think that's important to see if we can boost our shadow damage via Paragon points a little bit. So let's actually try to mess with that for a second. We need Abyssal in the first one, and Abyssal is going to go down on Dexterity. Luckily, Dexterity can be clapped really easy. Because we're just going for this, and that's it. I don't think I even have to take this point here, right? Yeah, 29. Okay, dexterity, easy poem mode. Then we have Scent of Death. Scent of Death is actually really amazing. Look at this. They changed it. You gain 15 armor and all resistance and critical strike damage. Damn. Damn, son. Right? And this node used to be like some weird shadow resistance, right? And now it's like total armor as well. So before, you did not want to have both of these nodes, but now you actually want to have both of these nodes, including this one on the side too, which is also total armor. They really, I don't know how to say this, but it used to be that there was a bit more choice in the actual Paragon board, and now because there were additive nodes that are just useless. But the way how they changed it, we're kind of at the point where you just want all the additive nodes, right? But we're really like, oh yeah, I want this, and I want that too, and I want this too, and I want that too, right? So you kind of want everything now. Which is plenty weird. It never used to be like that. Especially since this is giving you percentage to all resistance, right? Which is huge. That was going to be Gravekeeper. Where's Gravekeeper? Gravekeeper boosting the rare nodes. Gravekeeper needs more dexterity to activate. We took that dexterity. Take that dexterity. And we can take that dexterity plus this one. That one is only more max life. That one back here is also total resistance and total armor. AKA more toughness. Before, no. Now it's like, yay, I want it. It's so weird. It is. I'm not sure how much I like that, right? That's something to truly enjoy. That all these weird nodes are something you get to take now. We're gonna play Essence in here, probably. Yeah. Essence. It's a dexterity board with like 64 dexterity points. That's, by the way, where planners are really good, Chan, if you ever wondered. So you get like on the blank planners in the internet, you can check out how many skill points or how many stat points a certain board has to offer. Which obviously makes super sense to check because you kind of want to know, right, which board is useful to put something in and which board is like kind of terrible to put something in. Kind of a toughness guide. They will 100% undeniable have to do some kind of toughness guide where they at least explain step by step some things to us. That's for sure, and that's undeniable true in my eyes. Yes, I'm fully with you on that one. Need sacrificial. But sacrificial is also intelligence based, actually. Okay, take that. We're gonna have to go down here for the attack speed. And see, now you're gonna make such a rough decision because I have taken all these damage reduction thingies here, right? All these elemental resistance. However, I need the skill points for other stuff, so I'll probably have to just really go for the minimal amount on these boards and ignore a lot of the other things, right? Just to be able to actually get the things I actually need / want. Interesting though is that now with more skill points, you have more meaningful things to take. This is corruption damage, right? Right now we're sitting at 171%. And it does actually say it's scaling with corruption damage. So if I get these 45% bonus, that is also scaling this one up to 203. Yeah. I think I cannot get away from actually tempering the shadow damage on the weapon, sadly. Because with 113 again, you're now sitting at 292, but look at this, it's 292. What the fuck is that, Chan? How's that a thing? Where am I supposed to get the last percentages from? How do you usually get the percentages up? Well, that's where masterworking comes in. Because usually masterworking would boost the 65 values up to roughly 85% values, 90% values. And the 130% here would go up to 180%. So yeah. I mean, my gloves can also take another shadow damage temper, right? We could try to make that somewhat higher, hopefully. Wow. So now we're sitting at 340. We're still missing 110%. What am I going to do now? And when we get the shadow damage here, right? And the corruption damage, but that's it. I don't have any other shadow damage. I mean, I might actually be forced to consider redoing this board. And by the way, we still need a reset board function. I'm still absolutely sad about this fact that we do not have a reset board function in any way, right? I might have to reset this shit. And I might have to actually go away from the blood board. As much like this blood board is amazing for defense and for another damage multiplier. Just to make my way into the wither combined with the other board. Because if I'm now going for wither, we would technically have corruption damage. We would have damage to corrupted, and we would have shadow damage. Yeah, I don't see another way. Currently. I mean, what else? So we could go up here to get the armor, and the armor. So that's actually a good node now, right? It didn't used to be a good node. Then we get the resource cost reduction, but we get the corruption damage that we technically don't need. We can go over here to pick up the shadow damage and all of it. And the damage to corrupted enemies is obviously useless. Now what I wonder is, do we have to play... We do need 100 more. So like, you need the shadow damage because... Here. Shadow Blight has a damage multiplier. And that goes up with shadow damage bonus and corruption damage bonus. And that is necessary. That is mandatory. What I wonder is if we maybe have to play the Darkness Glyph. Because that would improve our shadow damage wholesale. So maybe in the new reality here right now, the Darkness Glyph is mandatory. However, I could probably move, let's see, Flesh Eater is a 59 dex board. Scent of Death is a 54 dex board. Sacrificial was boosting magic. I could potentially in this board also play the Sacrificial. Right? To then boost these nodes up. That makes sense, somewhat, to me. Take the intelligence up to 30. And then bop. Go for this. This would now have us sit at... 439, ladies and gentlemen. Ha! Look at me. This also means that I do not have to put that many points into the other board, which is kind of cute. So I could go here for the maximum life and then go out. And we could still choose the frailty, right? And now I have to go from the top because I need to put the Essence in here for the crit. But that's wholly possible because the actual board is very easy to navigate through, crit-wise, as you can see. You can still get the attack speed. And most of the nodes, while also still dipping here into the shadow damage. Aha! And if I would play the shadow damage glyph, I could technically temper frailty. If I wanted to. Cool. So now we're sitting at the 450% multiplier. Ta-da. And we are going for options, gameplay, show only critical damage. Thank you very much. Isn't Tangle Tongue better, Assault and Joy? Or you can definitely play Tangle Tongue if you have Tangle Tongue, my friend. If you have it played. Okay, shadow damage increase, damage to vulnerable increase, and the crit damage increase. We got corpse explosion, we get the pull together, we have the bone prison, we have the thingy, and we get more damage from this. Okay, so we put our. By the way, why is the target damage so weird? Yeah, see the stacking, chat? See the stacking? You see the? Okay, 2 billion already. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now we need the cooldown reduction for the Soul Rift. We need the Cursed Aura, because we're not cooldown reduction right now. So on our boots, we need Cursed Aura currently. Because you obviously want to have that around you. We need more attack speed. Way more attack speed. I mean, this attack speed was like really sad currently. We're sitting at 45%, right? We need at least 100%. So rings with attack speed are mandatory. We can play the aspect of Hardened Bones though, so that's nice. We get Hardened Bones. We can temper. And we need to temper Soul Rift duration. That's at least good, because now I can make sure that I get Soul Rift duration. So we get it down here. Soul Rift duration, right? I go for my boots. I get Soul Rift duration just like that. I don't have to random YOLO gamble anymore. I can finally just get the 24-24. So instantly we're sitting at 11.67 seconds, which is actually really good. The helmet is also going to get me Soul Rift duration. Yep. More determination to stream than me for working. Well, I like to figure out. There were 4 billion damage, Chan. I like to figure out things. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm enjoying myself. 6 billion. 9 billion. 10 billion. 11 billion. Chan. Okay, it's working as intended. Good. Jeweler, please. And we need to try out the... Okay, so first, Royal Topases, obviously. I wonder if it's better to actually add crit damage here instead of adding more intelligence. Because all stat damage is good, right? But in the new reality of not having many additive damage bonuses anymore due to tempering and so on, would it maybe be better to add like the crit thingies, right? We definitely need the Quox rune, so we need a Who Quox, but how am I going to restore resource? Actually, that I should automatically restore resource. So we need a Who. Okay, I don't have a Who. We need Quox. Okay, I don't have Quox. Good. Great. Damage reduction. We need to change that helmet aspect to. Well, what do we change the helmet aspect to? So we get damage reduction here. We get the sacrifice bonuses. We get Iron Maiden. We technically have a free slot to wiggle waggle with. Is there something utility-wise? Void. Void. Well, no, ground jewels, realistic. Okay, I'm sorry, like, if you're new to this channel, hi, name's Ponyhalf, I'm hot. I'm your host today, sorry. It's all about making realistic builds. That's why I also don't use mythics. Because I don't want to give you the feeling that, like, unless you throw the perfect things together, it ain't working. Because we're trying to see what's possible in Season 11, what's realistic working, right? I know this build would be, like, obviously vastly stronger if I would now also throw uniques at the problem. I mean, that's clear as day, right? You don't have to be very smart to figure this out. You get this figured out in 2 seconds. Still though, Ahu, and still no Quox because it's still here somewhere. There's Quox. Good. Damn, that's why we're doing it this way. If that makes any sense to you, to give you a realistic outcome. Okay, so I do this. I spam away. Who is triggering? Boom. Okay, I'm expecting like double-digit billion, not triple-digit, but more 723. Yep. Okay. Yep. I'm very pleased. Nice build is working. Okay, do we need Soul Rift duration on... Actually, we can't get Soul Rift duration on the gloves. That's true. We can't. Oh, I didn't think about it, but you can't, Chan. Because only one aspect, right? Huh. Yeah, interesting. Never thought about it. Armor. We got healing received. Movement speed. Spam Soul Rift. Spam Soul Rift is last season, not this season, sir. Spam Soul Rift doesn't do anything anymore. Let's masterwork our gear up quickly. Then let's test this in the pit, okay? How well this is gonna work. Rings to Iron Maiden need to be definitely re-rolled. No one wants that. Cooldown reduction, yeah. At least something. Thing is, you can't get ultimate cooldown reduction anymore, which also, again, makes you weaker, right? Okay, so everything is... Oh, no, last ring isn't masterworked. So first stop is a pit 65. It's always a pit 65, chat. Let's go. Just got a 4GA Shaco special. Let's fucking go. On the test server, on real server, it doesn't matter. It's amazing. So pit 65. How tough are we? Ladies and gentlemen, especially without potions or anything, right? Actually, I don't need the Aspect of the Void because we get Corpse Tendrils. I kind of thought like I might need Aspect of the Void, but we get like Corpse Tendrils, so that's actually working really well. I forget, I always engage with the, yeah. So damage is there. You always walk in, engage with a Reap, then we pull things together right away because we get that. Barrier for days, everything dies really quick, so that's nice. I have Soul Rift up though. Soul Rift, no max endgame damage. Damage-wise, we're good. I like big cups so much, so I don't have to refill my cup. I mean, I'm a content creator, right? I'm locked up here in my room, so I'm gonna make myself one coffee in the morning, and that coffee is a liter, and then I'm gonna drink a liter of coffee, and that's good. Actually, it's not a liter; it's like 700 milliliters roughly. So yeah, and then I'm good. That's my dose of coffee for the day. Reasonable. But I also don't have to go upstairs to refill to leave you alone for a bit, right? No? I just drink that and we're happy. Okay, this is working better than anticipated. I'm really happy that it does though. That means also the Bloodwave build should be working really fine. Defense-wise, I'm like here, so like toughness, Chad. How much toughness is a lot of toughness? I get 1,000,000 when I'm acting. Right? I mean, toughness obviously goes up and down because for some reason barrier boosts toughness. So as soon as I have my thingy going, my toughness goes up. Like as soon as my soul rift is going, right? So I don't know how much toughness is good toughness, because toughness is really weird in that regard. What can I say, my friend? Is Quill Volley still OP? No. Hasn't been for quite a while. We will definitely try out Bloodlands though today to see how it holds up in the current climate. It might be that overpower builds could be doing somewhat good and that Bloodlands could have an existence, right? Because, so how do I say this now? Bloodlands didn't used to be good compared to some of the absolutely overscaling builds. But now that builds are underscaling and aspects are more important than ever for your damage, it might be that it actually goes very well. Because, let's be fair, some builds get their damage over skill ranks, right? Some builds get their damage over core skill ranks, golem skill ranks, mystic circle potency, right? These kind of things are where you get your damage from. Whereas, see like here, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Whereas other builds are getting their damage from the aspects and the paragon. This build here, for example, does not do, like, I can't get skill ranks for this build, right? This build does not get stronger with masterworking. Big here. So I do not get stronger from masterworking in this build. And that's why this build is strong, right? So this is like the same strength as we had in season 9 roughly from this build, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. And so yeah, just get good aspects and you do a lot of damage. Whereas if I play minions, for example, I need skill ranks to golem, skill ranks to golem, skill ranks to golem. If you play Bloodlands, for example, you want ranks to Bloodlands, right? But you can't masterwork that up anymore. And that's a big limiting factor if you think about it. Okay, do Black River build. Same problem for Black River as with the other stuff. You can't get the corpse skill ranks up. So you used to be able to get like what 40 plus corpse skill ranks, somewhat. That's not happening anymore. I need way more attack speed. It's actually sad how few attack speed I have currently. Yep. So this build is all about attack speed, by the way, because the faster you spam your blights, the quicker you'll do instances of damage, right? So that's kind of like that. If you don't have a lot of attack speed, it's going to feel atrocious. And we only sit at 45% right now. So we definitely want to have Variana right now. We need the attack speed on gloves, rings, and amulet, right? I mean, it's up to 15%. And we need to play the Gar rune. I think this is like step number 1, get the Gar rune, because 60% critical strike chance. So sad. But this is also, like, think about it for a second, Chan. This is a sad development now for every single build, because you used to have some kind of rune variety, right? You used to have a thought like, what kind of rune would you play? There was at least some shifting going on. But right now, you play Gar or you're fucked, because you're otherwise not getting your crit up. Where's Gar? See, that's Gar. And in order to trigger Gar, you're probably going to play Sir, right? And then we're going to make sure to always have 25% crit chance bonus. And on top of the 25% crit chance bonus, yeah, we need to drink the elixir. And that one's also limited now. Because which one should we drink now? What do you think, Chan? Probably precision. I mean, I'm going to take advantage for the faster hitting, but we should probably take precision. You hit it for a negative number in the pit, by the way. That negative number is random. Reason. The negative number everyone hits for. I don't know where it's exactly coming from. It's just something that happens. Something you do not have in any way control over. You will just hit a random number. How much faster my attacking now is with that little potion. And the important part is that the faster I attack, right, the more I stack my damage. That's why the faster attacking is so important for this. Because it actually meaningful, like, compounds the damage. And it's all about attack speed in this build, right? That's why I keep saying attack speed is king. Because the damage is scaling over a matter of 6 seconds, okay? So in 6 seconds, you have this one, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70. The more attack speed you have, the more 70, 70, 70 you have. Pretty good, though. So that's build number 2, Chad. We have Golem Necro, already performing very well. We get our boy here, the Soul Rift Necro, definitely doing good. And I could get myself Ariana to actually attack even faster. So one up, whoop. Which one should we do next? I mean, we're going to throw an eye. Like, I want to obviously see how the Blood Wave is. The thing is, Blood Wave is pretty much this, just with Blood Wave. It sounds so stupid, but it's like the same build, but with Blood Wave. I don't have all the mercs unlocked yet, unless I import my characters. Yeah, so we can't hire Variana. We can only hire Rahir to at least get ourselves, like, here more resistance. How was Fireball last night? It worked. Is Druid going to be killed? No, but we are hardcore pushing for them to change Grizzly Rage again, because the Grizzly Rage change is bad. They actually put down. So Druid is definitely in uproar about what's happening. Druid will still have quite some builds working, so I'm not too fussed about it. I'm not too negative about it. Druid still does good. What boss in 2 minutes? It doesn't matter. You can spawn the what boss. You can go and spawn Asmodin. Did you not know, sir? I mean, obviously, I don't have a reason to fight him in Torment 4, right? But just to show you. Barb next. We're not doing any other classes but Necro today. The reason why we're not touching Barb is because Barb is stupid right now. Barb is pretty much all Melted Heart of Selig, and a lot of things have to get nerfed. So, for example, there is the Hammer of Ancients aspect, who overworks with Fury. There is the... there are a couple of things that just, like, overdo it and make Barb too strong. So, as that. Kind of useless. Mm-hmm. We want the world boss. Now we're still need to work a bit on the cooldown. I mean, the duration is 13. The cooldown is 37. That's just harsh. I mean, like, unless you're in the pit, you're most likely not going to have this running fully, right? Okay, Mr. Necromancer, I was trying to, like, I was testing something out. I don't want or need your help here. Bloodlines Bone Spirit doesn't work anymore. That build is functionally dead. In case you weren't aware, so it really doesn't work. Why is he in Torment Force so weak, or why am I so strong? Okay, I'm a demon, chat. I'm a demon. Coolest death animation incoming. Okay, so the biggest problem is the cooldown here right now. Wow, that feels so terrible. Like, even with 3 tempers on Soul Rift duration, we're not able to have our ulti up all the time. Hasta la vista, in the golem build, all 3 golems are the same. And if you were able to choose, that would be cool, but it will functionally never work, because for that, Blizzard would have to implement you being able to choose things. Reckoneth Awake, maybe. The problem with Reckoneth Awake is it would introduce... Okay, so you're not wrong, but we can check the math on this one. Because right now I can increase the duration by 25%, or I could get Reckoneth Awake. Right? So that's the issue here. We have Raka. I don't like generic. Of them is it? So here the Reckoneth Wake is that wasn't Jen's blessing. Here's Reckoneth Wake. So it's 8% cooldown reduction. Okay, we have right now a 13-second duration and 37.68, and now we have 11-second duration and 34.59. Technically, right? This seems doable. You have less cooldown. You have more cooldown loss than you have duration loss. However, the longer duration allows us to hit more lucky hits to reduce the cooldown further. So it is actually opportune to rather have a longer duration than to have better cooldown, if it's between better cooldown and longer duration. The sad part is, what happens if I get a mythic chest piece? What happens if I get a mythic helmet? We're down to 9.92 seconds Soul Rift duration. What am I going to fucking do now? Should I ask you, what am I going to do now? It might actually, like, you might have to play on Maker. Right? Let's actually do that here. All uniques. How's uniques? Helm. Unmaker. Unmaker would also be cooldown reduction. And it would extend the Soul Rift duration. So I wonder if that is the solution. And I'm not happy to call this a solution, but it would at least allow me to have a longer Soul Rift. Let's see how much longer that actually would equate to. I need Infernal Compasses. Builds are going to be constantly changing based on which mythic or items you find. I mean, that's normal, right? But the question is rather about sanctification boosts and whatsoever, because that's obviously a big change happening. Right? If you then get a a proper sanctified item. However, you can never sanctify unless you're finding something. Okay, my Soul Rift is still going. Yeah, my Soul Rift was almost up for the full duration. Okay, let's put it up, Chad, and see if it actually lasts until I get it back up again. Okay. Soul Rift is still going. Soul Rift is still going. Soul Rift is still going, and it's back up again. Okay, with the Unmaker, it works. And back up again. So yeah, that works. I mean, not that this is like an Infernal Horde build, because it's not. This is a pit and boss killing build. For Infernal Hordes, you would need something else. Okay, it holds up. Also, what the fuck just happened here, Chad? Where did all these ether dudes come from? Like, seriously. Interesting part is, so this says Soul Rift duration is increased by 0.5 seconds for every 30 essence you spend while it's active up to 8 seconds. So with the Soul Rift, we're going from 11 to almost 20 seconds uptime. A normal helmet cannot provide that, right? Yeah, I guess we'll have to play it, right? I mean, worst case scenario, you're also doing some more Soul Rift damage, which is fine-ish. I mean, like, I guess it's more DPS, right? Interesting part is, it says, Soul Rift deals shadow damage per second to surrounding enemies for every essence you gain while it's active. And we're just gaining active by the Soul Rift just, like, obviously soaking in the essence. So we just have, like, that passive happening anyways. Is pad bugged or don't you use one? No. So what do you mean pad bugged? Oh, no, sorry, sir. We're not. We're just testing things. Like, I don't need the pad for testing things. Okay. Official marked. We got 2 builds down for Necro, chat. That's already more than many others have. Next. What are we going to do now? Leave. So that is Shadow Necro. That is Golem Necro. We can go over to the Bone Spirit because in Season 9 and in Season 10, Bone Spirit was reigning supreme too. However, that Bone Spirit build was a Bone Spirit Splinter build. And I wonder if we now do the full Bone Spirit build instead of the Bone Spirit Splinter build, how that would work. If we're not going for the minion boosting, not for the Splinter boosting. So we tried this out with the Splinter boosting just to see, like, if you do Shot of Wrathiel, right? Would this actually do something? And with the aspect of adaptability and the aspect of Moonrise, plus the Bone Splinter 900%, the shadow damage. So let's actually jewel this one out. We got the Pain G's, right? When we need the Pain G's is better, though, with 4 2 skill ranks. I'm sorry. I'm good. Oh, that pain in your chest when you're eating the sneeze. And the pressure behind your eyes. Okay, that's 75. That's whack. This Pain G's was 6-2 basic. Yeah, look at that. That's what I wanted to have. Let's go. Pain G's represent. Attack speed preferable. Oh, we need pants. Oh my god, look at me. Casame's Legacy, chat. Sorry, had a moment there. I'm good again. Pants. Blood Moon Britches. Wow, the worst Blood Moon Britches ever. I hate you. Need more class uniques. Pants. 26% again. It's the same pair of pants. It's the same. It wasn't a different pair of pants. It was exactly the same. How is that even a thing? Right? How can two random class caches poop out the exact same pair of pants? Sometimes you're really asking yourself what they put behind that algorithm wise. Make that be a thing. What happens if you 4 GA and Masterwork or Sanctifies for the extra GA? Yeah. Nothing. I don't think you can get another greater affix on a 4 GA item. Obviously, Blizzard never thought about that. So, there you go. We got the first aura. Yabba dabba doo. No. Boots. And boots. Why are we going for boots? Good question, Chad. Path of Tragul. Wow, you're all absolutely terrible and I hate you. Still, we're going to take those.
I need more time.
I mean, let's take that 4 GA Casamies. Bring it to the temper. So this is 4 GA. You can't. Interestingly enough, you can't. So unless we sanctify to get a bonus sanctification affix to then greater to then masterwork that one, right? So I would have to take this Casamies Legacy now, and I would have to sanctify it, and then maybe, right? We could get that up. So what else do we need? We get Pain G's. We get that. We get Varathiel. We need the... Oh, that's a good question. Can a focus get attack speed too, Chan? No. That had crit. That had crit. That had crit. Okay, Bone Splinter, basic skill. Bone skills are shadow skills, right? We get the Pain G's. We get the armor. We can't play the Gospel of the Devotee as much as I want to. Right? I don't think Gospel is the thing. So I really don't see how I could put that in. I'd have to lose all the shadow damage multipliers just for Gospel. And that seems whack. We get Gar for the crit. And we need... And we could play with Thol if we wanted to. The Turbices on. Okay, that one is going to be Hardened Bones. Right? Big difference now is, Chad, look at my skill ranks on the basic skill. We're sitting at 13. Guess how many skill ranks a good basic skill build would have? usually. Mm-hmm. 29. Up to 29. You heard right. Okay, let's refund this and do the proper board. We need... try to exploit for the time being. And then into the... we're still going to play with Bone Graft because I actually like Bone Graft. And it actually gives me crit too, so there we go. One looks always so weird. Want the armor. We want the critical strike chance, because yes, there's critical strike chance, guys. Want the resistance for more toughness. I feel like resistance is even more important than maximum life right now. Because if your toughness is up, okay, think about it. If your toughness is up, then your actual resistance doesn't matter that much anymore. If your toughness is up, your life doesn't matter that much anymore because, well, you have a lot of toughness, right? You can get away with 5k life if your toughness is high enough, if you have enough, right, of everything. Then you can get indeed away with it. However, you need enough first, actually. Oh, this looks ugly. I hate it. Unless I would go over this. We want Eliminator. What was the fastest to come online allows you to speed through stuff? Minions. I mean, which class? Minions. Well, which class, though? Minions. Like, minions really allow you to just go fast through things. High recommendation. I mean, even in the up-and-coming season, minions are just king. Have always been king. Will always be king. Everyone loves minions. Someone says he doesn't love minions? Wait, I'm gonna like, what a weirdo, huh? Imagine not liking minions. I mean, like, seriously, minions. Yeah. Fine, go home. Okay. Do you know when you're trying out other classes on the PTR? I will have a video ready today about the other classes on the PTR, but we will actually not do a dedicated stream for the other class on the PTR, and that has one simple reason. The other classes are right now weirdly bugged. Most of them. And some of them already need clear reworks and stuff they got happening, right? But that's all going to be a topic of the video, pretty much. But we have everything. We have everything already, in consideration. So everything is masterworked. I have the aspects. I have the sacrifices done properly. Yep. I have divine gifts, which is fine. Between all the classes bronze. I mean, on the current server, it's a druid. Now, this is like, it's working. It's not working. How to say this now? No, it's doing the gerb, but it's not pumping out big numbers. Oh, I forget to change the aspect on the helmet. Let's quickly do that. This helmet can actually be hardened bones right now. Good. How do you feel about the toughness system? Shielding Storm. So the toughness system in itself is not terrible.
I forge more than horseshoes and nails.
I need storm duration. But we're missing any kind of pointers on how much do you need, right? So I think the idea behind the toughness system has merit. But the information we're getting inside the game is virtually useless, right? Well, what do I know? I can take 101,000 physical damage before I die. Great. What does that mean? You know? How much damage does a minion now deal? Okay, that poison damage they're dealing is like I cannot stay alive against this poison enchantment. What is it called? Illusionary. I don't know. It's the shadow enchantment that's actually killing you there, right? 151 million. Nice. I'm actually aware we could do so much. Shadow enchantment is just out of bounds, out of control. The problem is, right, we're at a pit 55, and I'm seeing some good numbers, but we're already seeing some good numbers with like 100, I want that shadow enchantment is just crazy. Can you one-shot a lair boss and Lilith in tier 4? Not in this current iteration, no. I mean, not in Season 11. No one can do that in Season 11, unless Bart, which is overtuned right now, because of Melt Heart of Selig, right? So that's a fact and a half. No one goes around one-shotting things, currently. In tier 4. In Season 10, yes. In Season 11, no. No, we had this cool machine gun bone spirit version last season, and that one is unable to be played anymore, which is actually kind of sad when I think about it. So bone spirit would actually be put on the nope pile, because this does work, right? But it does not have the damage to compete. I mean, like, so if I now had the mythic items, I could get it somewhat adequate, but that would mean I would already need to have like 3 mythic items, right? Could someone get it there? Because Air of Petition would give us another 30% critical strike chance, which is huge, obviously. Yeah, I mean, compare this to the Shadow Knit build, and it's sad. Oh, I forget the aspect of the Cursed Aura. That's a multiplier missing, actually. Ooh. Give my humble self a moment, John. That should write some things, but still not to a point where we're like, oh yay. I wonder if the original Bone Spirit itself, like how well that would do. Because that's obviously something we could still be getting going, right? You have the Shadow Spirit aspect, yes sir. No, Summoner works already, then. So we did Summoner in the beginning, that's Triple Golem. Triple Golem is insane. What did I want it to do, Chad? Cursed Aura. It loses the Shielding Storm. Jeweler. Give us no. The diamond. The diamond. I'm gonna try Barb. Gore. We have a video ready on Barb. We're not gonna try it because the Barbarian right now is all about the Melted Heart of Selig, and there's obviously some overtunement happening that shouldn't. Yeah, this is like somewhat more convenient because we're like, again, it's all about damage multipliers from your items, right? The season is not about like what you masterwork and temp on your gear. It's all about aspects. So max rolled aspects are going to be king. How much crit are we sitting at? We're at 88. That's my problem in the open world. If I don't have the Bone Storm up, I'm missing 20% crit chance. But I can't get enough crit chance to not have this. So that's a real problem for the Bone Spirit build. So you need 100% crit chance, right? But in order to get 100% crit chance, I really need crit chance on every single piece. But even then, we're struggling. You need mythics? No, you don't need mythics. That's the whole point. You absolutely don't need mythic. I mean, Cursed Aura, Gorb, you can obviously play without Cursed Aura. But let's be fair. Raise your hand, chat. If you play Necromancer, do you want to handishly use your curse on every mob pack? Or do you just want to use Cursed Aura? And I think the answer here is pretty simple, right? No one of us wants to handishly use that. What did I wanted to check? Crit chance. Okay, so we're sitting at 68.7%. However, if we now use our skills, we're sitting at 93.7. So that's a 100% crit chance with the Gar rune, with Gar here. But only if we're casting, only if we're doing things, right? As soon as we're not doing things, that one drops. So that's a little bit of a bummer. It'd be better if it was without the Gar already, but at least we're at the 100. Okay. So we got Bone Spirit chat, we got Golem Necro, and we have Shadow. Shadow includes Blood Wave as well. We could try to make the Blood Wave Variant quickly. Problem is that the Shadow Wave Variant is, you know? I'm not a fan of the Shadow Wave. Did you still have to gather Blood Orbs for that? No, you didn't. Yeah. Because you were playing Shadow Wave as a spam. No, you were still playing the title aspect, huh? Do I like that? Do I not like that? I have a hard point of choosing, you know? How is the 3 Golem Necro? Oh, here is the 3 Golem Necro. Let's get him going. For the people that haven't seen him, that's Dave, Francis, and Jebediah. The gang. And they feel really good in any piece of content. They also can already do the appropriate pit tiers. Boss fight with Golem Necro, please. I can. You get these dudes, just go boom boom, right? And everything dies. You could even make them like absolutely spammable. So I kind of have them spammable, right? With like few downtimes in between. So that's kind of like how this works, right? And they do billions of damage and you get like some very few downtimes in between. You could make it perma-spammable by having them spawn 5 corpses with every jump. However, them spawning 5 corpses with every jump would not be... Say like, so you can spam them, very good. And a boss fight here, just standard Halt of the Penitent. I am trying to teleport out of the pit. Could you just let me teleport out of the pit? Thank you. Is Rogue absolutely cooked next season? Yes, it is. Rogue is in a horrible spot. I mean, right now it's clearing pit 150 because it's bugged. Generally speaking, unless they're actually changing something HP-wise, I see people farming tier 3 bosses this season. Not because you can't farm tier 4 bosses, but just because tier 3 bosses are way more convenient. So here, this is us, right? Like, I'm going to stand here with my reap. I'm going to reap it. So to help the cooldown reduction, as you see, I can like really have the golems more or less always going on, right? The cooldown is very low. Feels very good. Ow. Obviously I get hit, but you notice it works. It also works in the Infernal Hordes in the pit and everywhere. So golems are good. However, this is again, there's a Torment 4 fight, right? And a Torment 4 fight with pit 100, with 100 glyphs and all that kind of stuff. And also all my gears 12 times masterworked, or 20 times masterworked, which is frankly spoken useless, right? The 20 times masterworks are actually like whatever. Doesn't even do that much. We get the Quox rune running, which is important. We have our cooldown bonus running on the ultimate, so we actually get our Soul Rift often up enough, right? We sadly don't have Soul Rift duration because these items are sanctified, but it's working. That's the most important part, right? Good. What other build? So that works. The shadow build works. Blood builds. Jesus, when's the last time we did a Bloodlands, Chan? That's what I mean without Mythic tier 4 not farmable. No, I do think it's still farmable. Don't know. Just not the bosses. So like, let's say Hell Tides, Undercity, Infernal Hordes, all that kind of stuff is definitely tier 4 farmable. No problem. And not every build is stronger with Mythics. Also very important. So Mythics is not a blanket answer. It doesn't make you stronger, always. But certain builds, yes. How many times you have to win the sanctification for extra affix lottery to feel comfortable in tier 4? There is a method. Wait. I have the answer for you. I actually have the answer for you because there is like fellow creators ran some tests. Thank you, Mr. Macro Bio Boy, for this. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Macrobio Boy sanctified 800 times. And there's this little... So, this is 597 sanctifications, okay? Chance per sanctification type. So, in 600 times sanctifying, he got the no durability loss, 22%. Replaced an affix, 10% of the times. Added a new affix 33% of the times, and greater affix and affix 20%. And only 16% of 600 times, so in 100 cases, did you get a bonus aspect. Yay. Make out of that what you want, right? But since this is the outcome, and it's like 16%, so it's 1 in 6 kinda. Which technically means you need 6 good items to at least one time get an aspect, and then you would still get the aspect that you don't want, right? Yeah, so it's kinda 1 in 6. Kinda. But that means you kind of like need 20 versions of an item to maybe get what you're looking for. Yay, right? I really don't mind the gambling. I really hate hoarding items. Vemrathin, the problem is you need to farm the resources to masterwork, the resources to temper, the resources and gold to reroll the affixes. Then you need to farm the stones to sanctify. So the amount of farm you need to do, and then, as I said, you need to farm the items too, on top of actually all these things. You need to farm the resources and the items to then, with one click of the sanctification, make all your farm be useless. And that the problem is not the chance. The problem is not the putting the things in. The problem is that you're farming all of this, and one single click, you spend 20 hours to farm things, and one single click makes all the 20 hours of farming useless. And that's just not a good feeling. Now, you could say for the grinders, that's fine because they like grinding anyways, and that's true. But not only the grinders interact with this system, and that's the problem. Like a Valorb, that a Valorb is positive for you, Twitchy. Because either a Valorb does nothing, and your item is still good. A Valorb could ruin your item, right? A Valorb could add a socket, or a Valorb could like improve one of your affixes. So a Valorb in general does do fine, but obviously Valorbs are completely optional. Right now, at the current power level of a character, sanctification is not really optional. Because if you want to feel comfortable in Torment 4, currently, with the current power level of characters, like, we're talking about super comfortable, like, you want to feel like an absolute god, sanctification is not optional. It actually becomes a thing to do. Right? The problem is, so look at my two-handed weapon. So my two-handed weapon for the minion build, okay, can get the aspect of reanimation. Okay? Listen. My two-handed weapon can get the aspect of reanimation. So if I sanctify it, it could obviously get another aspect in 1 out of 6 times. Now, which aspects could I get on a weapon, though, that is minion related? For example, I could get Frenzied Dead. That's nice, but doesn't add damage. You could get Great Feast, and that would be another 110% bonus damage. So imagine this now. I get this weapon. I have to get 100 weapons. Strike that. I have to get 200 weapons. to 200 sanctification stones. 200 sanctification stones, they drop like 1 or 2 per pit. If a pit takes 5 minutes, so we got like 200 stones times 5-minute pits, so we're sitting at 1,000 minutes. Like that's, you know, the 16 hours of farm, and that would be just for the stones. And you need to still farm the weapons, right? We could get the Unyielding Commander too, so we have actually 2 potential outcomes. However, weapons can get all these aspects, right? There are 53 different aspects that weapon could get through sanctification. So I have a 1 out of 6 chance to get the aspect, and then I have a 2 out of 53 chance to get the one I'm looking for. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I am not complaining about the potential of a grind. But that's no. Even as a creator, even as someone who's chasing these kind of things, just know. They could fix this by adding an aspect slot instead. See, I would like that. As Tony is saying, instead of giving us a random aspect, they could add an aspect slot. So I could put another aspect on. Lock the old one, give me another aspect slot. Yes, that would be reasonable. And it would fit to D4. Perhaps don't learn the recipes that you don't want or that's a no-go. No, Death Dealer doesn't sadly work. Benjamin, honestly, the systems are not bad. So, it might sound doom and gloom what I'm saying here right now. The systems are not bad. It's just that they need a lot of fine-tuning. And either they're going to learn this from the PTR, or we're going to learn this over the next 2-3 seasons. That's that. Oh, this sounds like feedback to give for the PTR. Well, I have a feedback document, so actually every single creator, Chad, very important, is sending in feedback. So we are being asked to create a document kind of like this. Where's my notepad? Here, this is what we're like. This is what they want from us as the creators. And actually, every creator is writing like an essay. You'd be surprised. So there are essays coming. Like I have read the essays from last season. Like screw me sideways. You know, I usually write like, let's say 200 words per point. Like, and some people are like, hold my beer. I'm gonna write you know, as if their life depends on it, which it does, because some of these creators are only Diablo 4 creators, so kind of like their life depends on it. Are sanctification stones tradable? No. They are here in your... No, wait. They don't say account bound, but they should be account bound. Because otherwise someone is going to find a dupe for this, and no, they need to be account bound. You can't have them be tradable. But if they're tradable, I'm gonna make money. Yeah, if they're tradable, then God bless China. Yeah. No, please. That should not be a thing. Okay, what other Necro build do we have? Bone Spear's out. So any core skill, like any core skill build, unless you're using mythics, is out. That's already a fact, chat. I'm sorry. Because you need the Air of Perdition and you need the Ring of Starless Skies to have core skill builds do meaningful damage. We could try the Skeleton Mages. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Where the... Hand of Nas Necro. When was the last time in the leaderboard Hand of Nas Necro did do good? Wasn't it season 9? Used No Man Down Nas, right? Yeah, we got here. Do that. 9. It could be that Hand of Nas still works. The problem is that in the Hand of Nas Necro, you're looking for as many Skeleton Mage ranks as possible, right? Problem is, let's pull out the Hand of Nas. Wait, let's break the game for a second. It's easier than actually putting them away. Right? So, class unique. I need the Hand of Nas and the Blood Moon Breeches. So, pants, gloves, gloves. No, wait. Am I missing a glove? Gloves. Hand of Nas, 88%. With no, we need the mastery. No mastery bust. Wait. What I have been asking myself is, Chad, if I have a 2 out of 4, but I greater affix is, does he 2 out of 4 the greater affix? Like, does he push the thingy to max or not? Right? He does. Huh. Interesting. Because that's kind of like, even if you have a low rolled version, right? It kind of makes sense then to still take the item, because it kind of would. Oh my god, a 3 GA Mandel, Chad. Woo! Look at me, mom. Look at me. The 4 GA Mandel. Woo 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 woo. Sorry, had a moment there. I'm good. Chat, everything is fine. Yeah, it kind of means even if you have a low roll, if you want to waste the resources, you could still get it up potentially. So that's actually nifty, I'd say. We know that Golem Necro works. The problem with Golem Necro is, again, getting the spam done. So in Hand of Nas, you don't have this problem. You don't have to get the spam done. Because in Hand of Nas, you just take the mages, and then you just have the mages, correct? The problem with Hand of Nas is going to be, I need the Skeletal Mage... I need the mages to... If you don't say it, brain, I'm going to punch you. Skeleton Mage Mastery on items, and we can only get it that high, right? Skeleton Mage Mastery is on... Helmet? Boots? Chest? Where is Skeleton Mage Mastery on? Chest, right? Surely. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I have 1 point spent too much somewhere. That point, you know what? No, actually, I'm fine. I'm fine. With this. Yeah, you need the aspect to be as close as possible to 100. That is not wrong. You were absolutely correct about that, good friend. Shadow. Grid. Shadow Mages. We need our boots to have Occult Dominion. Let's actually go to the right spot, chat, because we get like a really cool spot for this again. Really useful for Hand of Nas Necro. You know what's really useful for Hand of Nas now? You get your two-handed weapon. So by the way, here's everything. I need a two-handed this size, right? One that doesn't suck, preferable. And that two-handed weapon is going to get mages twice. One issue we have with this, though, is... So we can get the mages twice, right? But we cannot get it over 40%, which is actually sad. I mean, sure, we could... get a masterwork, right? But how high is that going to be? If you get a masterwork. I mean, we can't get it to 100%, right? I can just get it, like, barely to that. And we can get service and sacrifice. This is obviously the aspect you need, right? To 200%. By the way, this is service and sacrifice. If you now get reanimation on it as well via tempering, that would be nuts. Okay, helmet can have. Can have. Oh, skeletal warrior mastery. Chest can have. That's a 2 golem mastery chest. Can chest have no golem mastery? Only pants. Can boots have mage mastery? No, so only pants could have mage mastery. Interesting. Huh. That's good. You know why that's good, Chan? Because this means that in the current, with the 6 ranks to mage mastery, we are at 11 out of 3 skeletal mage mastery. And the only difference would be 2 more ranks. So if I would now... No, actually 4 ranks. So I'm missing 4 ranks of skeletal mage mastery. And that means we're missing 80% damage. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. We can deal with 80% less damage, huh? Probably. Lair boss. I need legendary journey cache. My god. Just want to have like some amulets. I also need to look out that my ring gets attack speed. And then my two-handed weapon gets attack speed. Because, like, right now, correct? The two-handed weapon, the damage over time. I mean, we're playing minions, right? Attack speed or bust. That's 20% more attack speed. Or whatever you get, because it's kind of like, it's bugged. I don't know how this is bugged on every single PTR, right? But if you reroll stats, you're actually not getting the stats you're looking for, right? It's like you can reroll 17% and suddenly get 20%. It's actually completely random. It's not even like a little bit random. It's just completely random. My ring needs to have essence on kill and instead needs to have attack speed as well. And my amulets have attack speed. Good. So I'm sitting at 2,000 life. I'm sitting at 2,000 life, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that fantastic? We're going to have to play the aspect of reanimation. And my amulet has to play the aspect of... you know what? I'm not going to play a cold on that because I really don't like that. So if I play... No, reanimation goes here. Reanimation goes there. And then I can play the aspect of the damned on that one. Probably. Yeah. Damned. Then we can do Cursed Aura up here. And Hardened Bones over here. Good. Good. What do we temper, though? The big problem here is, so you kind of would like to temper your ultimate. So you always have Soul Rift up, right? I mean, we can at least temper utility-wise again Soul Rift duration. Congratulations, I get the 25%. We get the 20%, and we get the 21%. So we get Soul Rift duration tempers. Yay. But on my amulet, for example, instead of Soul Rift duration tempers, I would want to have the mage damage, right? Because the mage damage is being multiplied up by my ranks to mage mastery. And that's not a little bit. So this is 100% mage damage. And my mage thing is 220% more. Why do you need to play Cursed Aura if the breaches are applying the curse? Because they're maybe applying the curse. They're maybe applying the curse. I mean, in this build, you could argue, yes, sure, Cursed Aura might be something we can put off. What else would you play? I mean, we could play Skeletal Priest. Not Aphotic. What is it called again? The Bloodgetters. Bloodgetters here. Yeah. So you could play that alternative. That would be fine. I could, you know, I could be okay with that. Look how my toughness just simply doesn't exist. Great. When at least we get armor here, and we get armor on the boots. So that seems to be mandatory to get the armor rolls. How much attack speed do we have? So we're sitting at 50% attack speed bonus with another 18.8 summon attack speed. If I now go for the Paragon board, I get some more out of it, right? I can get some more. So step number 1, we can get the Abyssal Glyph here because that would do non-summon damage. Abyssal is again... So Abyssal is here, non-physical damage, and we do only non-physical damage. In case you didn't know that. Then we can go into the Cult Leader because that's our biggest damage booster-roni. I wonder if they changed anything about Cult Leader. It's still the summon damage, right? Still the summon damage. This is still the attack speed, which is amazing, right? Do we have to lower the attribute requirements? Chan? What do you think? Because right now, without the percentage intelligence boost on helmet... Thank you very much. Are you still reaching this? Most of the time. Right? I mean, usually reaching 1,300 would actually be super, super duper easy. But nowadays, it feels different. I'd have to take Essence here. Might be very unhappy about that. So, mages. Should take that. That one too. Into the Send of Death board. And interestingly enough, in the Send of Death board, ladies and gentlemanas, we will take... I usually never often consider the Mage Glyph. Because we might have to play with a maximum of everything that is available to us, right? As I said, if we already have the opportunity to get more additive damage, we might have to really get all the additive damage available. Otherwise, that's a bust. And then lastly, the Frailty board. Let's change essence here for amplify. And then I can go better into certain boards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can get the essence in here. Bit more efficient. Not much, just a tiny bit. But even a tiny bit counts. Okay, attack speed here too. And we get the defense. Okay, so I did not make it to 1,300. We're sitting at 60.5 plus 31.3. Unless I actually get the attack speed like tempered on my masterworked on this, we're not looking good. Actually, it doesn't seem to count. Wait, the summon is at 31. You know, it counts the summon. So we're almost at 100%. If I count Variana, we're at 100%. So with Variana, we have the max damage. I need to summon some mages. I need more training dummies, and then I can make more mages. Goodness Christ. We dab bodies. Just go into a pit. Okay, so the damage is looking good already. I mean, that's high millions of damage currently. Let's see if I get into a pit. On leaderboards, so let's do a normal pit 55. I mean, this is obviously considering you have everything max rolled, right? Aspect of service and sacrifice max rolled and all that kind of stuff. 12 mages. And they're cooking damage wise. Go in, pull together. I don't have my ulti up, so I'm not getting barrier. Yeah, that's like one problem I see coming with this. I'm gonna be having to dance, chat, continuously dance around things just to stay alive. I mean, damage is good. So, how's the boss fight? The problem with mages has always been like you kind of need to move forward right quick. There is a new golem attack button where you can tell your mages to attack in place, right? Problem is that that's not going to work against... That's not going to work with mages because you need to sacrifice your golem. Torment 4. Belial. Come, my friend. Come. We're not having runes running right now, so rune would be a potential big damage boost. Let's get a Hook Walks quickly. I missed a Hook Walks. It would be nice to have a perk that makes our minions surround us at all times or even walk ahead of us. I mean, minions should just have a very tight leash radius. I'm sorry, there's no reason that minions do not have a tighter leash radius. They shouldn't be wandering as they do currently. They should just be tethered to your butthole, and that's it. That would make the most sense to me personally. But hey, what do I know, right? When the main issue comes really from like them not being tethered to your butthole, right? Them not being just stuck to you. If they were stuck to you, that'd be amazing. By the way, how much crit chance do we have? I'm at 22.6%. That's nothing. That's disgusting. So my items don't even need to have attack speed. They also need to have critical strike chance everywhere, or we're fucking screwed. Brilliant. We love to see that, John. Okay, Ahu and Quux. And then we need Gar and Sir. No, Nagu. We could actually do Nagu. Nagu. Because the minions are active, right? At all times, so they get the crit. Kind of fine. The easiest way to fix this is to give minions a core skill. Right? I am using Blight right now as my core skill. Because minions don't have a core skill. However, if minions had a core skill, right? That problem would not be a problem. Because then I would press the core skill and my minions would always attack there. I mean, whatever the core minion skill would be, right? It should be a universal one that changes with the minions you have chosen as your main minions or something. I don't generally know, like, what do you want to do about that, right? But, oops. Same map, like defensive-wise, I don't exist right now. That's probably the biggest problem on the mage build, right? In the golem build, we are undying. We're consistently shielded up and everything. In this one, you're a little bit on the squishier end of things. Let's try to get the Full Gluttony going. Full Gluttony, Flesh Eater. Yeah, see, like, the damage is nice, but not nice enough. So Golem is doing better damage. Because this here is right now the damage, so there's billions of damage, right? You've seen it. Congratulations. The problem is that this billion of damage is again with 100 glyphs, right? So we're barely able to do billions of damage here. And that's already with 12 times masterwork, all this stuff. Like, obviously, we could get some more attack speed. Obviously, we could get some more crit chance. And that's with a 200% aspect here, too. And that doesn't feel so good on mages, honestly. Right? That doesn't feel too hard. When we get the 50% here, we get this up to 90%. Not really, huh? Not really. Not too hard. That's for sure. Interesting. Okay, that means Shadow Blight stacking so far, and Golem. We need to try out Blood Wave. We need to try out Wave. I'm not the biggest fan of the way how the Wave plays, but it might still be the easiest build to do. Okay, create new character. Shadow Wave. Shadow Wave. Shadow Wave, Shadow. Apply all boosts. If they don't change the drop mechanics for mythics, I don't get what the point is would you try without them. It's not like they are ultra hard to get. They are ultra hard to get, Cortanas. I mean, so in this current season, you're not going to farm tier 4 bosses like crazy, so you're going to farm tier 3, 2, 1 bosses like crazy. The overall drop chance will definitely be lower because you're killing less minions per second anyways. You have to go to seasonal rank 6 and 7 to get your 2 keys, as you also have to go to the seasonal leaderboard to get that. You are going to have less mythics, and that's just a fact at this point. I'm sorry. You're also having less chaos rifts, and you're not going to be blasting as hard. So mythics are going to be less. I mean, I still don't have all mythics, Cartanis. I have 6 characters in Season 10 leveled up. So you're saying mythics are easy to get. I still don't have all of them. I don't have the mythics I need for my builds too. So I think it's absolutely prudent to make no mythic builds. Without a doubt, to be honest. A 4 GA chest armor? Which one would that be? Did I not keep my 4 GA Casamies? I did keep my 4 GA Casamies, right? Here, my 4 GA Casamies Legacy, chat. Let's go. Okay, we need Casamies. Then we would need... That's it, actually. We might need Rakanoth for the cooldown reduction. I'm not sure how much cooldown reduction we need for this build to function, but we probably need the cooldown reduction. Ryan? Put some skill points in. Cream. It's been a while since I played Bloodwave, right? I really enjoyed the first row of Bloodwave builds, but then after that, it's been rather yawny on the Bloodwave. Not sure how that plays right now. Question is, do we play the overpower version or do we play the shadow damage version? I want to try if the overpower version still works. Because I enjoyed the overpower version personally more than the damage version. So let's see about that one. You have Bloodwave deals double damage here. That means we should probably temper Bloodwave double damage, right? Okay, we got 55, 52%, and 45%. So, ta-da, we're sitting at 100%. Cool. Cool. We like that. I have the title aspect. And there are two versions of this, right? There's the Shadow version and there's the Overpower version. But again, I would like to check on the Overpower version. We don't need attack speed, interestingly enough. Right? Because attack speed doesn't really do much for this. So it'd be rather going for intelligence. Now, Bloodwave is down to 23 seconds cooldown, chat. But 23 seconds, even with a triple cast, is not low enough. Which means I do most likely have to play more cooldown reduction. That would be Rackaneth Awake. Or we could just play the Flicker Stab. Is that it? Screw me sideways, chat. Do we have to cast and then dash? No. The pain. Shit. Is that really what I have to do? No. Don't make me do that. Oh, why is the low FPS stream? Because there is a bug with the capture card that every now and then just goes weird, and there it is fixed. Congratulations. I never noticed until someone says it, though. Sorry. So we get either Rackaneth Awake, or we get the Flicker Stab. I would prefer Rackaneth to just get the cooldown down. Do we have cooldown down timbers?
What will it be?
We have. Like 9.8%, and we can't really get it lower, right? Do we feel like that a lot of these temper values need to get buffed? Chan? What do you think?
Anything breaks, the forge is hot.
And right now I had the cooldown down to 14 seconds. Flicker's an awful mechanic. Yes, I fully, wholeheartedly agree. The problem is, I only have this low cooldown right now because of the Blood Wave cooldown reduction, right? If we didn't have this greater affix, it wouldn't even be this way. Every build just needs cooldown spam. Tons of builds require cooldown spam. That is absolutely correct, my friend. Tons of builds require it. See, now we're here at 12 seconds. Yikes. When I need to get Cursed Aura for a second, because I am not going to do this myself. So even if I have Cursed Aura... See, the cooldown goes down, but not meaningful enough, so... we kind of have to play Fast Blood again. Diamond. Problem is like more. That's without Paragon points spent, right? So like at least the cooldown is working. I mean, it's still down to like actually gathering of the blood orbs and everything. And if you don't have a max rolled aspect, it would not work. Okay. I mean, like, let's see how much more damage we get from the Paragon board. I mean, they obviously changed some things, but we know stuff's possible, right? Let's see where this is taking us now. Essence. And at least I can go for Blood Begets board because, well, it's better now. Take care, Javer. Thank you for dropping by. Why's my tiny human upstairs sounding like a gargoyle? Chat, explain. Tiny gargoyle human upstairs who goes like, rah, rah, rah. What's happening there? It's definitely fighting demons. I don't know what kind of demons, but there seem to be demons upstairs. Okay. Baguettes. Baguettes, we enter from the bibbity bottom. And then we're going to get the Gravekeeper in here. Gravekeeper should be really easy to take because I could do this. Then go over. Take Gravekeeper. Because that's almost activated. I don't actually have to do anything anymore. Boom. And it's already activated. Might not even have to put in the bonus efforts here because I just need one single more. Like that. I know we don't have to take all these maximum life notes, by the way, because they don't do anything for the character. Very important, right? So these maximum life notes, they don't make me stronger. I don't actually need to take them anymore. Flesh Eater. I'm not sure if I'm too lazy to use Flesh Eater for this build. Because Flesh Eater is a 40% damage bonus, right? And if we're using Frailty, I might as well just go for Sin of Death for that 30% crit damage bonus. Because I'm just lazy, honestly. Down. Set in. Do I want to consume all these corpses at every single point? No, I don't. Right? Sorry, not sorry, chat. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, and lastly, we get Frailty for the... Screaming, where's my damage? Hey, the damage is still there. It's just very well hidden. Chat, listen. The damage is still there. It's just very, very well hidden at this point. Right? So you gotta do some soul searching to find all the damage. Okay, so what do we have here? Oh, I'm missing a here. There you go. But don't actually make me use like we get this. I need to do the corpse tendies. Corpse tendies. So billions of damage, Chad. It was actually nice to see. The problem is that they nerfed the amount of blood orbs you're getting. So not every cast is an overpower anymore. So it used to be that every cast was an overpower. But for some reason, Blizzard, in their almighty wisdom, decided that, like, you know, removing blood orbs is smart. So at this point, you're only getting... What was it? How many blood orbs per? It was 2 blood orbs per wave. So you're only getting 6 blood orbs per wave. And after being healthy for 15 seconds, your next blood skill's overpower this time is reduced by 2 seconds each time blood orbs heal or overheal you for 400 life. What I wonder is at this point, do we need to spam more healing received? Because it says heal or over... Heal or overheal you for 400 life. But is this per blood orb? Or what happens if a blood orb heals me for 800 life? Right? What happens if a blood orb? I mean, you might actually have to play transfusion for all I know. We might be forced to slam those points into transfusion and just pray to the Lord that we might get something out of this. Right? To at least weasel out like one more blood orb or something. Unless, obviously, I could find a sanctification that gives us more blood orbs. Right? There's be another engine included to get more blood orbs. No, not really. You're kind of like fine off. You could just oh sorry, reap and pull things together. Do the wave. I mean, the easy damage is there, right? I mean, even if you're only hitting for millions and not for... There's obviously still the shadow damage version that you can also play. Just somewhat different to what we're doing here right now. However, again, considering that we're having all our glyphs to 100, right? And we're just not simply one-hitting the shit out of this. That's the harsh part. So like, yes, if we overpower, there's a lot of damage. If we don't overpower, there's still a lot of damage, but not to the point where you would be like, yep, that's what I'm used to from Blood Wave, right? That's where we get there. I mean, we've complained to Blizzard quite significant about the reduction of the blood orbs, because for some reason we went from like having like an absolute viable build to this build doesn't exist anymore to a degree. Spawn this and see what happens. Damage is nice, but damage is not nice enough, right? This is like kind of, yeah, this is functional, and I can play it. We could probably play it in the overworld too, right? Chan. You kind of need to play corpse tendrils make blood orbs, right? I think that is somewhat that somewhat makes it work better, but still not too like, because if you do corpse tendril blood orbs, right, you just continuously have like a stream of blood orbs bonus on what you're doing. Still, the damage is not as nice as you'd like to see. I mean, let's see how it is if I'm trying to kill like an actual boss, right? Whole point. How would it look now if I'm trying to kill a boss? Put out. Nice little sister shit. Yes. Have they fixed Thorns, Necro? I mean, my condolences that you're doing this to yourself and trying Thorns Necro now every season. I mean, Necro is barely functional at the best of days. You know, Summon Necro has been the most, like, can we get it to work for quite a while now? So, yeah. Why do you hate yourself, sir? We changed the tendies to blood orbs. With the blood orbs. Oh, he just killed me with one hit. So topic, like, is my toughness enough, chat? I mean, we have 51,000 toughness, right? I mean, wait. Let's quickly... Let's quickly do the things we gotta do. Because obviously we need to reroll some stuff. Sorry, chat. We need to at least... do the basics. Cult resistance, life per second, out for crit chance, I guess. Because we need crit chance. There is crit chance. Not lucky hit chance. Not attack speed. This system, by the way, doesn't change to 3 options to reroll. I'm gonna start crying. Yeah, okay, so I don't want crit chance anymore. I'm fine. Like, I never wanted crit chance to begin with. That one has crit chance. has crit chance. Or cooldown. I mean, probably get a roll until I get cooldown reduction, right? That's the problem. I mean, same as I'm forced with a helmet to actually play this. This has crit chance and then Bloodlands ranks. We get the damage, full damage here. I forgot we haven't even masterworked stuff. Jesus, Chan. I am so sorry. We just did the bare lip service. Oops. Let me quickly fix this. I was kind of so excited to test the viability that I forget to put all the things in, right? Okay, what is our crit chance at? I don't want to see. It is at 34.3%. That's actually not even that low. Mrak. I need equipment runes. Thank you, sir. You know what we still need? A rune stash. And I think we all can agree on this, right? That a rune stash would be great. So we're going to play Buck and Gar. Buck is traveling. Gar is crit. Few Toon Mon Gar. And we could play Who and you know what? No. Cast an ultimate skill and ultimate cooldown reduction. Right? What is the ultimate cooldown reduction? What is it called again? Tolkwe. Zach? Yeah. I mean, that at least would get us somewhere closer, right? Oh, wait. Masterworking? Oops. The World Boss, loot-wise, you can get insane loot from the World Boss with the right things. However, like all the kind of loot interactions are probably going to get adapted still. Right? So I don't think that any of the loot interactions we have right now is going to necessarily stay this way. Because with the actual boosts from your divine gifts, you can get quite some stuff out of the world bosses. It's actually crazy. By the way, is it probably mandatory to masterwork everything 20 times so you can actually go into Torment 4? Yeah. I mean, long gone are the times of just existing and being able to go into Torment 4, right? You probably have to masterwork everything tons. The Endgame in Season 11, you are going to do the tower. Now that's looking good damage-wise, Chan. Look. It's kind of nice. So we get the damage. Let's actually go back into a pit 65. You just saw the greatest AI-generated commercial on your stream, brothers. Tell us more, Mr. Finnan. Tell us more. I mean, the AI commercials you sometimes you currently see on YouTube are definitely something cursed, I will say. Something certainly cursed. See, like if you're in a small room like this, I don't even get the cooldown reduction for my. Yep, and I'm instantly dead. Cool. Yeah. Okay. No, if the room is too small, not enough. That was a 5 billion hit at least. Yay. Now we need, like, if the masterworking system stays this way, we need a buff to cooldown reduction. Because otherwise, like, many builds are barely functional, right? There's so many builds require you to reach a certain cooldown reduction breakpoint. And like the tempers need to be boosted, or the base FX value needs to be boosted, right? One of the two things, tempers or base FX. But something needs to happen because I don't think it can like exist in this limbo here. It's a bit weird, right? Yeah, buffing the values of temper will help a lot. And we're talking about wholesale buffing. Might it now be cooldown or actually damages? Because right now, like, if you temper or not, it really doesn't matter. Unless you go for utility temper, right? So the damage tempers are not doing enough to be worth it. And that's why you're mostly going for utility tempers. However, if you actually would buff the damage of the tempers, then people that require utility tempers are screwed. So what do you do then? I mean, in the current reality that we have going on right now, either minion life needs to go down or damage needs to go up. Like one of the two things, right? There's no question. Because if my 12 times masterwork character can just about do a Torment 4 boss, then that's either intended how you want it to be, which is crazy because then I would have spent all this time farming just to still take 30 seconds to kill a Torment 4 boss, right? Or something is not working the way as intended. To explain the seasonal mechanic, the seasonal mechanic is that lesser evils, aka Duriel, Belial, and Endariel, plus Asmodon are now in the open world. So Duriel is now the new Helltide boss. You can summon Asmodon in the open world just to fight him. Yeah, like a world boss. And Endariel can be found inside the Undercity. So you beat the Undercity and suddenly you fight Endariel. Plus Belial can be found in the pit. So if you do the pit, you can actually fight Belial now. That's also kind of cool. However, or on top, you get your divine gifts that give you more loot. They don't give you more player power. They only give you more loot. Okay? Oh, wait. We're missing a damage bonus, I think, chat. We're missing a multiplier right now that I need to deal with. I forget something for our Blood Wave. That would give us even more damage, but it would still not be enough. So Blood Wave actually gets the damage bonus here up to 200%. Actually, we're seeing 175, which is good. From your damage while fortified bonuses. So we need to put a few more points in there to actually get that like last 25%. Yay, we could do a pit 65 chat if we have level 100 clips. Beautiful. Nearly every season we get a carryover from previous seasons. Not nearly every season, but some seasons we do, yes. Do we get a carryover? Weren't Chaos Rifts meant to be a carryover? The rifts themselves? Bartik is definitely a carryover. So Mr. Bartik is staying in the Infernal Hordes, Chad. That is staying. I'm not sure if the Chaos Rifts themselves stay. I can't remember if that was in the... if that was in the beginning patch notes, to be honest. You need to add more fun builds that feel bad to play with bad gear. You had that in Season 10. What's the special loot Bartik gives now? Sanctification stones. The stone for sanctifying. Or killing. One armor, case armor to stay, as we all do want, my friend. As we all... Ooh, I forget to masterwork my weapon, Chan. We can get even more damage, because that's the base damage increase. Okay, now we're nuts, chat. We're nuts now. Listen. Listen, Deed's nuts everywhere. Let's go. By the way, I feel like we will have a forced need to play instances or you're not tanky enough. Because since every point of toughness counts, instances have become OP. How would you change the masterworking system to be the most optimal? I would have kept the old masterworking system and just made it possible to masterwork in steps. So you masterwork 8 times, then you reset down to 4 times, then you masterwork another 12 times, and then you reset down to 8 times. I liked the old system. The old system wasn't bad. It just had too much RNG. So in order to improve things, I would have simply reduced the amount of RNG involved in the current system to then have a better system wholesale happening. That's how I'm looking at it. But instead of like working with what they had, they just were like, nah. Everything from step 1. I'm just not sure why that was their decision. That we really needed to start right at the beginning again. To feel like this is going anywhere. Yeah, that's that. I'm not completely against the new masterworking system. Simple reality is, though, that with the new system, a lot of things need to be adapted. Right? Again, cooldown, skill ranks, whatever. Because a lot of builds simply don't work anymore. Oh, and with don't work, I mean they will not be able to even remotely get to Torment 4. Right? Because when you watch, so we had Makuna right now. Makuna, the absolute sorcerer god, right? The dude that makes all the sorcerer builds that's usually rank 1 in the sorcerer leaderboard. So he made a build with a frozen orb, for example, super buff, by the way, and with crackling energy, and both of them could do pit 80. Now they could do pit 80 with mythic gear, 3 to 4 times greater affixed, fully masterworked, with level 100 runes and everything. And you could do pit 80. Pit 80. The crazy part was you could do pit 80 and you would still, though, take another like 30 seconds or so for a boss. Yeah. Congratulations. Right? You want to kill a like you want to farm Belial, you want to farm like whatever. Yeah, good job. It's going to take crazy amounts. So you would do all of this, right? You would get the perfect gear in the game possible to do the minimal content viable. And if with a perfect gear possible, you can do the minimal content viable, yeah, that. I mean, yay, I can kill a Torment 4 boss. Just about. With some of the best gear in the game. Yeah. That's not what we call feasible, right? So something is clearly at a miss, right? Obviously, what they underestimated is how much the base stats get boosted. Because the big difference that we have right now is if you masterwork an item 12 times, every single stat goes up. So let's look at this ring here right now, okay? If I masterwork this 20 times, I might get my intelligence now as a greater affix. Congratulations. But my max life, my overpowered damage, and my ultimate cooldown reduction stay exactly as they are. The same goes for the weapon. It might have overpowered damage, greater affix, and then gets another intelligence, greater affix. However, the blood wave, chance to deal double damage, the damage and the maximum life are exactly staying as they are. They're not going up. And I don't have the damage tempers on my things anymore. Same goes for the critical strike chance and everything, right? Generally speaking, all the damages are not moving forward. All the cooldowns are not moving forward. All the skill ranks are not moving forward. And that is just tons of damage missing. Why is Blizzard so scared of adding tier 5? Because tier 5 is useless. I really don't know how you would think that tier 5 would do anything for the game, personally. Tier 5 would just be another tier 4 where you just have to get more resistances and more armor again, and where you just need more damage. So it's the same, just with another number. Ta-da. Blizzard boosted life per second ADC. If you have Fortify, you don't need life per second. And I'll be honest, if I have to put life on hit on my gear and life per second instead of a damaging stat, that does not seem like good game design. Also, Rex said playing on hard in Season 11 got him killed a few times. Well, because Rex is bad, Alex. I mean, the man hasn't played Diablo 4 in forever. Like, don't get me wrong. But the man plays all the other ARPGs, comes back for a patch, plays it for 8 hours, then whines about things. I'm sorry, that's what's happening. And people take his opinion as something that matters. This is not a shout against Rax. It's just that it's not a valuable, helpful opinion for the game in any capacity. I mean, he hasn't played the last season at all, and makes 2 videos on this season and that's it. And you're never gonna hear from him again. So yeah. Life on hit is, I don't know why they're pushing this, guys. So I really do not understand why you would push these stats back in. My amulet can now get life per second, life on hit, and life on kill. And I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't also need healing received. Thing is, the only world where these stats make sense is when you have enough toughness to say an enemy hits me and I counter heal. However, it again doesn't make sense because my amulet needs to have intelligence. I need main stat. I need critical strike chance. I need attack speed. I need cooldown reduction, right? I might even need lucky hit chance. I need resistance for, like, right? I probably need skill ranks. So after I have all these needs covered up, I don't have space for these in any way. On my armor, I need maximum life. I need main stat. They are fixed. I need armor, so 3 are fixed. Then I might need essence per second, maximum resource. I probably want a skill rank. I don't want life on kill or life per second. Right? On my gloves, attack speed, lucky hit chance, critical strike chance, maximum life, intelligence, main stat, right? Or skill ranks. I don't have space for this. You're spending a lot of time on the PTR basically testing and playing everything. You already had everything. Why playing a lot? Good question, Mizata, for the journey. Why do I play the game at launch? Because the journey is what matters. The fun in Diablo for me is going from rank 1 to rank 7, going from Torment 1 to Torment 4, from 1 to 60, and progressing your character. The feeling of progress. That's the beauty. I mean, why else play an ARPG? I don't play an ARPG to be max level and have everything. That's boring. ARPGs are all about the journey. At least for me. That's why I keep making new characters in Path of Exile 2 instead of playing my endgame characters. 1 to 85 done. 1 to 85 done. 1 to 85 done. Journey. Journey over hogging the endgame like a crack addict trying to get the last percentage of damage bonus. Shadow Wave good? Sadly not. So Bloodwave is somewhat working, but the issue will be the cooldown reduction. You could potentially play without the triple cast, but even then it wouldn't feel good. So yeah, like unless you have Fast Blood max rolled, unless you have another source of blood orbs, unless you have like cooldown reduction greater affix here, and all these rolls also cooldown reduction greater affixed, or a Holocan crest, it's not gonna be it. The 2 Necro builds we found, okay, Chad? The 2 Necro builds we found is currently the Golem Mancer, so actually throwing golems around, and the good old Shadow Necro. So the Blight Necromancer. So it feels, this one feels really fun and good to play. And should meaningful progress through things. Because it only comes down to your aspects in this one. What should they change after the PTR? Well, we need a lot of buffs to affixes. We need or aspects to be stronger than they are currently. We need sanctification to change because it's stupid. Sorry, like that's the best way to say sanctification is stupid. The way it is right now, it doesn't add anything to the game. It makes it worse, potentially. So, yeah, that's that. I like the new progression. The new progression is fine. It's not bad. Capstone Dungeons should be shorter. They're overly long and tedious to a point where you never want to do them level appropriate, right? And toughness needs a better explanation. So there's all like all the points, all the problems I have are not things that are like you can't fix this, right? All the negative points that I have to point out, all the negative points that make me less excited for Season 11 are fixable. And even fixable in the time frame they have. Right? When you think sanctification is needed, sanctification should not be needed at all. I mean, the only reason for sanctification is pushing the tower or pushing deeper into the pit at some point. But at this point right now, sanctification is needed to be in Torment 4. And that's not good. Because it's a gamble system that can potentially ruin items. And I don't want a gamble system that can potentially ruin items to be necessary to exist in a certain world tier. Right? This Shadow Necro, where you're playing with like here your Shadow Blight stacking crits, right? And that one is just worked so well in the prior seasons already, and it still works so well in this season. Yeah, you found yourself ignoring mobs during capstones. Exactly. You were just running past them because you would do it over leveled and then not care. Mindless, weapon sanctification is broken right now. You can't get aspects on weapons, it seems, because Blizzard screwed something up. Yay. So you can only get affixes, but you can't get aspects, and even affixes seem to be also not working correctly on weapons. Yay. This Necro is working. The Golem Necro is working. So we have two Necro builds to look forward to. This one is one of my favorite builds, but the issue I have with this build here right now is that as much as it's working, as much as it's fun to play, you're pretty much playing a weaker version than you did in Season 9. Yay. So chat, listen, right? The Golem Necro is at least something exciting and new, while this build is old but fun but weaker. And that just never feels good, right? When you know, hey, I used to play a stronger version of this build. Yeah, that version doesn't exist anymore, get fucked, nerd. Capstones were bad. No, Capstone used to be extremely good, Zuggerod, back in the days. With the level 100 progression, I loved the Capstones. They were my favorite part of the journey. Like doing them in underleveled and then being able to beat them. Ah, the beauty of it. The 1 to 3% is bullshit. Rowdy, the 1 to 3% is actually just more clicks. No. So no. So the 1 to 3%, I think there's a misleading understanding. It's not that your weapon gets a 3% boost or a 1% boost. It's also going only forward in one step. Okay? So let me show you. Let's take any weapon. Grave Bloom, congratulations. We're going to bring it to the masterworking. So you can masterwork something up to 20 times, okay? If I now press the button, might get 1 quality or 3 quality. So it says base stat increased 3%, but I also get 3 quality. Now I got 2 quality. Okay? Now I got 1 quality. See? You're not getting less. You're just getting more clicks. Does that make sense? I need to total click either 20 times or 5 times or 8 times. So the RNG in this, which is stupid, yes, I agree, is just how much materials does it take? Right? So it's 1 Forgotten Souls, 50 Opticide, and 2 Baleful Fragments. Which means I'm either going to take, 8 times 50 or 6 times 50 or 10 times 50. That's it. It's just a resource burn. It's okay, like, it's absolutely, it makes sense. If you just look at the base stat increase up here, and if you're not looking at your quality while you're spamming, right, you're going to ask yourself, what is this shit? Right? What is that shit? That's where you're going to ask yourself. And it's a good question. It's a reasonable, good question. Because it seems weird. What I personally feel like is, why don't you just make it 3% per step? I don't see the need to add an RNG there. Do you know why we don't have just 3% per step, chat? Because it would just be like the old system. Hey, do you remember the very old system where you upgraded an item, what was it, 5 times and it was done? Was it 5 times and we were done? And if they now made it 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3%, it would just be like the old system. So yeah. However, I find it personally stupid, right? And now for this item, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Good. That was now 8 times 15, so 400 Opticide. Then we're going to take the boots, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Congratulations. We take the amulet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, we seem to be always getting 8 times, so why not just make a number? I mean, unless you're getting really unlucky, you're not going to feel this, right? If you're getting very lucky or very unlucky, you'll feel it. Otherwise, it's going to average out, so why not just anyways make it fixed? Right? I mean, worst case scenario, you would have to click 20 times. Because then you get 1%. Like it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I mean, imagine that if you get that unlucky. Wow, 20 times. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, 4% at 5 clicks, done and done. The thing is, I thought we were supposed to spend less time in these menus. Does that make sense to you? So the idea was that we're going to put an item in. We're going to now choose our temper. Congratulations. And then we're going to masterwork and we're going to spend less time in this menu. Technically. What about Bloodspear, Bloodlands Din? The problem with Bloodlands is that Bloodlands needs core skill ranks, okay? So for Bloodlands, you need Bloodlands on your gloves, you need the chest piece with Bloodlands, you need Ring of Starless Skies, and you need the Air of Perdition. So unless you have the Air of Perdition or Ring of Starless Skies, Bloodlands is useless. Same goes for Blood Surge. Unless you have Air of Perdition and Ring of Starless Skies, useless. Both of these builds require these 2 items or it's over. And that is actually for every single class that plays a core skill build. Right? This means in order to basically exist, in order to basically enjoy your build, you need already 2 mythics. Whee! That's terrible. Is masterworking only affecting one stat? Masterworking is buffing up the base stat of your weapon. If it is a ring, it's going to be resistance. If it is a weapon, it's going to be damage. And if it is an armor piece, it's going to be armor. Okay, so that base stat is going up. And then with the final masterwork, one of the 3 affixes is going to become a greater affix. The others are not changing at all. So these 20 ranks only increase the base stat. I am only getting more armor, more resistance, more damage. That's it. I'm not getting anything else. Okay? An amulet just got more resistance, all resistance, more armor. And then with the 20th time, I get a minimal boost. So now my hemorrhage ranks went from 2 to 4. While my max life and my cold resistance are staying exactly the same value. And the greater affixed is also staying this. Right? Which is actually the sad part, because think about it. So before, you used to be having a greater affix critical strike damage. And if you then 20 times masterwork, that greater affix used to go crazy. 12 times masterwork. So now it's staying that value. What happens with a full GA item? Nothing. So if you take a full GA item, and I have one, I can show you. So this is a 4 GA item. You have the final step. Nothing happens. You can't do it. But what you can do is, you can now go to the Convent of Angels. Or your masterworking can't get stronger. At this point, masterworking doesn't actually meaningfully increase your power, yes? It is sufficiently sad. I will say this. The new system, the actual power you get from masterworking that we used to get from masterworking used to be great and fun. And now you're not getting any power anymore from masterworking. So we can take these pens now and we can sanctify them. And if I, for example, get another affix, boom, that is now intelligence, which is actually really fucking weak. Really effing, super effing, fuck weak. I can now then go to the smith. And I cannot masterwork it anymore. Yep, that's true, because I forget that you can't change it anymore. So yeah, you can't do it. The only way how you get a 5 masterwork item is by having a normal ring, right? So you need to have a normal ring or anything with four things on it. Which means we could now open up boxes until we have this. And then you could, I mean, that's not a normal one, right? You could open up boxes until you have this, and then you could temper it, and then you can get a 5. That's the only way, pretty much. By the way, sanctification failed. Item is indestructible. See, useless. Ta-da. Did they remove primary stat on amulet? They did, Carlos. You cannot get primary stat percentage on amulet anymore. You can only get a fixed value now. Which is another loss of power. Because I currently have 1,784 intelligence. And that is not a lot. But still, if I had 1,650 and you could get like what times 1.35%. So we would be able to get like another 600 intelligence if we had an amulet that we then masterwork the percentage up. And 600 more intelligence when every point of intelligence is giving you main skill damage, right, was actually meaningful more damage. Especially because the main skill damage is a multiplicative value that applies to everything, right? So yeah, that's and the problem here is, right, that missing on the main stand is actually really harsh for later to get the proper skills. So this skill here needs 2,710 intelligence. I will never hit this again, most likely, right? We need to get what was this one here? This was only willpower. This is dexterity. That's willpower. We get here with the willpower. So these were actually hitting, right? That one was mostly willpower. I think we had an intelligence one over here that we were unable to hit. I know on the minion build, we had an intelligence one where, see, this is 1,100 intelligence. We're still able to hit that, right? But if we put it later, also not. They gotta do a lot. Yes, I mean, the lessons learned from this PTR gotta be massive. And Diablo does definitely have to put in the extra hours of work. Otherwise, it will be a sad affair. I don't doubt that they'll get this under control. Interesting things on the horizon, though, chat. So, people were asking for other builds, by the way. So, how are the other classes doing? I checked out some of my fellow creators. Okay. Because obviously they know better. Why not ask the expert? So we have Mr. McCooner here, by the way, with the Sork. This is Pit 80. And if you're looking for Pit 80 here right now, this is a perfect character. Perfect gear character, right? And we're sitting at Pit 80 done in how long? 2 minutes. That's good, because that means you can at least go for Pit 90. 95 probably, right? But the thing is, in order to do a Pit 80 like this, that was a 4 GA. Sorry, that's Ralf Schumacher, guys. He wants to sell you a car. So that was a 4 GA or Air of Perdition, a 3 GA Asadora's Overflowing cameo, right? So we're sitting here at like gear quality. That's insane. And obviously every single aspect maxed, right? To then be able to basically do this. Right, it's Pit 80 in 2 minutes, Asian, right? Pit 80 in 2 minutes. So that means Pit 65 is possible with less amazing gear. But don't underestimate how much damage boost the mythics actually are, right? But there'd be that. So we had Immortalize, and Immortalize was doing Rake Spiritborn. And we're talking here about good gear too. Remember Rake Spiritborn currently doing Pit 142, Chad? Right? Well, it's doing a Pit 65. Maybe. Obviously, you probably have to play some kind of Evade Spiritborn and not Rake, but still a Rake is kind of like Evade. But yeah. That's that, right? Let's turn that off. We got then we have Dens of Knives, chat. Our friend over here, Mr. Sladra. Dens of Knives. Very good. Far too nice. Far too. So what it does is negative Integra damage. Because Dance of Knives is currently counting a lot of the double damage infinite. So it just deals the double damage, and then it deals the double damage, and then it deals the double damage, but it actually doesn't reset that value. It just keeps stacking that. Right? Yeah, it's bugged and will be fixed. Exactly, Loyal. So the only way it's this OP is because of that. And then we have Barbarian, and that's where it gets the worst, to be honest. Why is Barbarian the worst? So You have, like, let's put our Mr. Barb Trillions back to business. The man, the myth, the Rob. Does trillions of damage. The problem is with these trillions of damage, it's pretty much down to one single thing. And that's it. If you don't have it, you can't do this. The Barbs made a very interesting graphic. Do you want to see the graphics, Chad? It's super fun. So, Barbs have 2 items that scale their damage. Okay? 2 items. That's it. Let me show you the picture. It's super fun. I love the image. It's called Barb Scaling. This is from, let me give the creator Barb Scaling. So this is from Mr. Beat Dropper, a very popular Barb creator too. So, the Barb damage. These are all the damage scalings you have. Additives, aspects, passives, glyphs, other multipliers, okay? Here. So these are all the numbers of all the other things, okay? And then you have this. This is like the 2,500 more damage and the like 1,000. And so these 2 things are Melted Heart of Selig plus Ramaladin's Magnum Opus. And it's Melted Heart of Selig plus the Hammer of Ancients Fury scaling, right? And that's the only scaling you have. And that's how Barbarian then ends up actually doing trillions of damage, right? But if you take it away, that's it. That's it. Barbarian is the same shit as everyone else. What happened to the Melted Heart of Selig, in case you don't know this? Let's pull up the planner so I can show you. So the Melted Heart of Selig, the new one at least, says each point of your primary stat increases your resource by 3%. Okay, that's amazing. We'd love to see that. If you now play Ramaladin's Magnum Opus, though, skills using this weapon deal 0.5% increased damage per point of fury you have. Okay, fantastic. So let's assume you get your fury up to 5,000 fury. That would be then times 0.05%, right? Per point of fury, more damage. Sorry, 0.5%, not 0.05. So we have 0.5% times 5,000. So you would get a 2,500 damage bonus. Yay. Yay. Drifter, this is not an infinite damage bug. This is just simply like a Melted Heart of Selig scaling, right? And then, what does Hammer of Ancients do again? Gain 5% more fury for 5 seconds. No, Hammer of Ancient gains 5% critical strike damage for every 10 fury had when cast. Right? So you get 5% more critical strike damage times 5,000 fury. But that's a little damage boost, huh, chat? Pulverized Druid is going with normal gear in tier 4 and 80 pit in 2 minutes. No, Pulverized Druid is actually not doing that anymore because they nerfed Grizzly Rage, sadly. So Pulverized Druid is still strong. That's not wrong. But Pulverized Druid has a problem, and that is that the damage is... How do I put this now? The damage is there, and then it's not there. So we're back to damage on Tuesdays to a degree. Because Druid has the Grizzly Rage, and Grizzly Rage gives you a 60% damage bonus, plus if you put in more ranks, it's actually a bigger damage bonus. So you get, right, you get the 60%, and now it's an 84% damage bonus, which is nice. And if I get more ranks into Grizzly Rage, it's an even bigger damage bonus. However, Grizzly Rage runs, and then as soon as it's over, it's gone. Okay? And the cooldown starts. Does that make sense? So you have it for 10 seconds, and then you don't have it anymore. Now, you could add the aspect of Grizzly Rage, the Rampaging Werebeast, right? So Rampaging Werebeast adds another 10 seconds. That means you're going to have a total of 20 seconds, and then you have it not for 40 seconds. So we're going to get 100% bonus critical strike damage. We're going to get another 100% damage boost from the ranks. So that's 200% bonus damage, right? 200% is amazing. You're going to be absolutely slaying it. And then it's gone for 40 seconds. Unless you would reduce the cooldown. However, how are you going to reduce the cooldown? Because in the Grizzly, like, you can play, I guess, Iridius. So that would be a 20% cooldown reduction, right? So we're down to 40 seconds with Iridius. Without Iridius, we're sitting at 50 seconds. So you would have to play Iridius, okay? Cool. Then we would have to pull out a ring, temper ring, and we could go for another 12.5%. Amazing. So now we're officially sitting at 36.03. And we could maybe get on the amulet. So let's say we put on a standard amulet, right? And we would go for the next temper again, plus then cooldown reduction, hopefully on the amulet as well. So we would be down to Grizzly Rage. Okay, cool. Then we're sitting at 32.39%. I guess if I add the spam core skills or lucky hit chance for ultimate cooldown reduction, that could then be another thing. But no matter what you do, you end up not having it up all the time. If you have Shaco, Alex, even then you don't have it all the time. You're going to end up with not having it. And that is a big nerf in damage. And not only damage, it's less armor. It's not being unstoppable all the time. Mortis, Flicker Step. Flicker Step is not an option, so you're correct. That means you would have to dash through things. However, in the pulverized builds from Season 9, I'm not sure if you would actually have the spot to play Flicker Step. Because here comes the problem. If you... Let me pull out a Season 9 Druid. So I have that. Season 9 Druid build. With pulverize. Because there was a problem there. Here. So, Season 9 Druid build with Pulverize. You had to play the aspect of Earth and Horror, because Pulverize is now an Earth skill. If you don't play Earth and Horror, then you don't have Pulverize be an Earth skill, and Pulverize doesn't interact with the nature magic damage, nature magic damage, nature magic damage, nature, all the stuff does not work together with Pulverize anymore. So you would have Flicker Step, and therefore you'd lose all the other multipliers just to get your Grizzly Rage up, which obviously makes sense, right? Then you have the Grizzly Rage up, but you're losing 100% other multipliers. So what are you going to do then? Right? Ravens is pretty much unplayable. We actually tried out Ravens without the aspect, and it works. It just doesn't work good. Most of the builds are subpar. We're just down to a few functioning builds per class. Right? Can Sanctification add cooldown affixes? I haven't personally seen it, but Sanctification can add skill ranks, damage multipliers, base stats, cooldown reductions. I assume it can also add cooldown affixes, but that's not an option, right? The thing is, like, if I need Sanctification to make a build work, then I might as well just shoot myself in the face, right? Because it doesn't make sense to play the game anymore. Toughness changes. I mean, toughness we'll get used to. You just stack things. You'll just use yourself here. You just use your instances and so on. And you won't get into Torment 4 before you're at 200 Paragon points. Because you'll need 200 Paragon points to meaningful get all the total armor stuff and whatsoever, right? That's the thing. I mean, once you have enough Paragon points, you can obviously take all the armor, resistance, shebang bangs, and then your toughness goes up, and that's it. always had builds in Diablo's history which needed perfect gear. Yeah, but these are super endgame builds. If even the builds to get to the super endgame builds don't work without perfect gear, what do you have then? You're not wrong, Special. But if the builds that you need to get to the end game to then get the builds that need specialized gear, even if those builds are also not really working, then what then? How will the changes make the game feel, D-Pad? Harsher. I mean, we did the leveling from 1 to 60 into Torment 1, Torment 2. It's just everything, like the progression in the end will be slower because you need to farm longer to get more gear to then be able to survive better in certain scenarios. However, if you still take a strong build, you will still have a good progression feeling. I mean, minions did feel strong, minions did feel fun, and they were a good progression feeling. The trick will be finding builds that only rely on legendary nodes for damage and on aspects for damage. Because if you get that, you're good. Right? For example, minions right now, if they get the Cult Leader Paragon node, you're instantly at 200% damage boost. Right? And that's crazy, because Cult Leader is an insane damage boost. So with minions, you can easily get here, like, you just get yourself the key passive, 40% more damage. You get yourself the Cult Leader. I don't have Cult Leader, but Cult Leader is 200% more damage. And then that's great. You're already insanely strong. If you then add aspects to it, you're going only stronger. And if you get like some of the basic uniques, fantastic. But then if you're playing a core skill build, right, you need just way more to get there. We will be farming tier 3 and not tier 4 before we become strong. Exactly. So right now, the way it looks, that the journey to 60 is fast as fuck. Into Torment 1, it should be fine. Torment 2 is more grind now, so you can't jump from Torment 1 just into Torment 2, so it's going to require more grind to get there. Then into Torment 3, as you're in Torment 2, should be relatively quick because you just need to get XP, done. But the jump from Torment 3 to Torment 4, in the current way how the game actually is going to be grueling and hard. Right? So that's out of the question. At least how it stands, okay? How it stands, without any changes. That the final leap is going to be harsh, and you're just not going to feel great in Torment 4. So average Torment 4, just doing like the Infernal Hordes, doing Hell Tides, yes. But like you're not going to feel supreme versus the layer bosses. You're not going to feel supreme like pushing the pit ultra deep and that kind of stuff. That's right now what the feeling will be of these things. I'm not sure if that's bad or good or ugly. We'll have to see. Yeah, Torment 4 takes at least 250 Paragon points. The thing about the Paragon points is that they changed the boards. So every board now has maximum life and total resistance plus total armor thingies. And you need them, right? You need these notes. They're not optional anymore. In the old boards, you would be able to skip this. This here, for example, used to be shadow resistance. I don't need shadow resistance. But now it is total resistance, maximum life, and total resistance. Right? The same up here. This used to be damage to injured and something like super fucking stupid. Now it's total armor. It's actually worth to take this note, right? This note here on the side used to be poison resistance. And it's now also total resistance and total armor. All these nodes they're not optional, right? This here used to be shadow resistance. And then maximum life. This here used to also be something else. And now you get total armor. You need to take them. Correct? So more is better. I mean, so far, we haven't gotten any feedback from Blizzard, so they're just gathering our feedback, but they sadly haven't told us anything. So I cannot give you some secret insights. I don't have any messages from like, yeah, how things are going. And if they're considering things. It will be a huge wake-up call for the average player, but it could be good. So I do think that the changes right now, even if it makes the game more challenging, if we get some tweaks to the master working, monster life, general player power, that it could still feel challenging, but without feeling impossible to achieve, right? So right now, as it stands, it wouldn't be too much fun unless you're a real enthusiast, right? So the changes right now are still good, but you need to be an enthusiast. You need to really enjoy Diablo and all the systems in Diablo. If you like the arcade loot slot machine that Diablo was before, and you're not like a super enthusiast, then the changes are bad for you. However, like with a few tweaks, I think we could find a common ground between like this, right? Between the still feeling more challenging, but still being able to blast it. That's how I'm vibing right now. I mean, like, look at me. I know what I'm doing, chat, right? I know what I'm absolutely doing. I know how to make builds. I know how to absolutely make things pop off. Greg? And I have, like, my cool, fancy Golem Necro here, who's obviously meant to be the #1 build that's going to be played Necromancer-wise. At least next to the Shadow build. And even for me, who knows what he's doing, right? And having maxed out things. I mean, I'm sitting here at a pit 70 with my golems. And this is fully masterworked and fully sanctified gear. Obviously, I didn't get a single ass bag. And we're doing good damage. I mean, we're doing billions of damage, right? And I can hurt these guys. And I can definitely do a 70. But it's definitely not for the level of gear I have. It's definitely not feeling the part. And that's as always the question. If I do everything to become strong, but I'm barely becoming strong, where's the sense in becoming strong then? If it's anyways not making me stronger. By the way, golems just feel fantastic. I love them. That is alone a reason for me to, by the way, play this season, that I get golems to spam at enemies. Because it's absolutely beautiful. And yes, that new poison damage definitely needs a looking at because it's kind of crazy. I feel like that cooldown reduction on the golems. It's beautiful, chat. Beautiful. We could do like a pit 70. Probably do a pit 80. Now pit 80 could be getting rough at this point, but we can do a pit 80 at 70 already. Die, sir. Please don't kill me, though, with your weird-ass damage happening, right? There's so many effects now on the screen that are not my effects that make it, like, kind of hard to see what's going on at times. Didn't even use my main cooldown reduction here, Chan. Look at main. So yeah, but usually in this build, I just stand on top of the enemies, right? And just spam my Reeb. Being able to spam Golem. Again, there used to be a bug that allowed this. This is actually the funny part, right? So there used to be a season where we could spam Golem, chat, but it was only due to a bug because minions were having 100% lucky hit chance. No, actually, it wasn't 100% lucky hit chance. They were having a guaranteed trigger for lucky hit, which is different than 100% lucky hit chance. They were just guaranteed lucky hitting. And that allowed us to really have the Golem on super spam speed dial, right? But now you can actually have him on spam dial also without a bug. Because this is not bugged, right? This is exactly how it's supposed to be. By the way, the question about toughness too. I have partially 1,000,000 toughness and I still die to random things. But Pony, how do you get 1,000,000 toughness? Well, there you go. It's weird because the damage reductions and everything you're getting are multiplying up toughness. So you have 1,000,000 toughness. And as long as the toughness is then up and 1,000,000, you kind of like have toughness, right? But as soon as toughness is gone, then you don't have that anymore and you're dead. So yay. It's weird. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So we're doing like a pit 70, right? It's a fully maxed out character. I have technically 1,000,000 toughness. I still managed to die in between randomly. Obviously, I'm not using instances right now, which would help me to be even more tanky. But yet, though, having a value of insane toughness that might seem like you should be not dying, that obviously jumps all over the board because you have conditional damage reductions, makes the whole system of toughness feel a little bit weird. See? I mean, it's partially also that I don't actually know what kills me on the new affixes from the monsters, right? So I don't know what they do. Like, I see a monster and he has a rainbow of effects on him and I'm just like, okay. And see, even against the boss, we can spam this, chat. Even against the boss, we can spam this. Golem number 1. See, if we now didn't die, I guess that would be like, what, a 5-minute pit 70? So I could probably do a pit 80 at this point with the golems. Woo, chat? With the toughness changes, will there be a change to Tyrell's chest? Yes, Tyrell's chest was changed, but you shouldn't consider it in your toughness calculation, Euler. Because as always, like, the point until the point where you get Tyrells, like, you should have figured out how to stay defensive without Tyrells. Have you tested Litless Wall with a new unique mace? Yes, it's better to not play it. So we tried out Litless Wall, and Litless Wall is a nice damage multiplier, and also with a Shielding Storm, it actually gives you a nice boost of survival. However, it's just simply better to not. That reminds me, though, I know that one of my characters had a... Which character was that? Was it the Bone Spirit or the Blood Necro? One of them had a chest piece with Golem Mastery on it. I want that. Here, that chest. Give it to me. Give it now, nerd. Thank you. I want this. Adam. I wonder, the 30% damage reduction, how much toughness that adds? Because right now I was playing the Shielding Storm on this character because I was trying the Bone Storm before and it sanctified the item already, so I couldn't change anything anymore. But if I now take a chest piece that has 30% damage reduction, right? I can't put it on because it has runes on it. See, like that toughness gain, chat? Let's get another 20,000 toughness on top. Just for having... Now we could go for basic elixirs. So let's say we're going to go for... advantage probably. Into the spices. So now you get spice, advantage, right? So we're sitting at 73,000, and we're going to go for pit 75, ladies and gentlemen. Pit 75, like a demon. Chad. Second. How will pit 75 feel? So what is the thing now say? Look at that, almost 2 million toughness, John. Interesting part is with so many enemies being alive, right? The amount of cooldown reduction I'm getting is nifty, but see, like I still died. So I really don't know what I now died to, right? I felt like I was super tanky. I felt like I was doing it. I felt like I was right there, right? Considering also when I'm reaping enemies, they're like they also do less damage because of my, what is it called again? Because of my curse, right? And I still just randomly, you know? And I just don't know what I die to there. What kills me? What gets me? I mean, mainly because there are just so many effects at this point on the ground that you don't actually know what the fuck is happening anymore anyways, right? It's kind of like, yay. And he just attacks and kills me. We recommend for Season 11 so far. I mean, for Season 11 right now, you get the Golem Necro, which, oh my god, my gear's actually broken. So that at least explains that part, right? For Season 11, we have Shadow Necro, Shadow Blight Necro, which only gets stronger due to aspects and Paragon boards. And you have the Golem Necro, which also works well. But obviously, toughness, right? I mean, sure, I could get, like, more armor on my gears, I guess. I could get some more resistance and whatsoever. But you still have to play your respective uniques, right? Red Hawk, what does toughness do? I mean, toughness makes you tankier, that's that. The biggest issue with toughness is that it's just lying to you. Because, what means lying to you? It tells you something that you cannot test. So toughness says right now I can take 1 million damage before I die. Right? I can take 1 million damage before I die. But how much damage is now something doing? How much damage does a fire explosion from a dying mob with a fire affix do? How much is that? I don't know. And I also will never know, because unless I have 1 million HP and I would stand there and get hit for 1 million damage and I would see that it's 1 million damage because I had 1 million HP, I could never quantify how much damage someone deals, right? I mean, obviously I can stand here without any kind of defense, without any kind of damage reduction, and just get hit by a mob and just see how much damage would it deal, but then I would just instantly die, right? Just like here. So yeah, I have a lot of toughness. I mean, my 100,000 toughness seems to not do anything at times. Or mobs are just dealing so much damage that it really doesn't matter. Or I don't actually know what, right? Now you could say, hey Pony, just don't stand where the damage is. And that's true. I could just go out of the way of damage, right? I don't have to stand where the damage is. I could just leave the area, vacate it, and be good about it. However, what does a barb then do? Right? What does a Spiritborn then do? And I can't just vacate the vicinity. And also, I need to actually stand close with the cooldown reduction. So what do you want me to do? So you definitely need barrier, because as soon as you have barrier, your toughness seems to go up. And as soon as you don't have barrier, your toughness goes down. But what does that even mean for your toughness value if your toughness value goes up with barrier? I mean, you're not getting inherently more tougher with barrier. You just have, like, kind of more life. Unless barrier would count elemental damage different, which it actually does. Like, in case you never knew this, right? Because for some reason, barrier always used to treat elemental damage as if it does less damage. Like, a fully barriered character without a single point of elemental resistance could actually take way more damage than an unbarriered character with full elemental resistance. Now, make that make sense. Seems like season 11 was made by AI. Sir, I want you to not be so rude to AI. Because what did AI ever do to you? Since I'm pretty sure if you asked AI to make a season 11, it would have done a better job. So please give our robot overlords some credit where credit's due. It was made by humans for humans. Yeah, what I'm really asking myself is how much this was tested, because like I don't know. Obviously we have the PTR, right? But that being said, these things were made by a dev team with internal play testers as well, and obviously they made this and they played this and they were like, this is good. This is like, I'm not saying that it's shit what they did completely, right? Some of the stuff they did has merit. But obviously, with the toughness now, like, I have a fully maxed out character. I have my toughness. I know how damage reduction works. I know how to be tanky. I know how to do this. So what, do devs play with, like, an infinite health cheat? Or what do they do? Right? Like, please tell me. Because I would like to know. Do all devs like only play one single class, and if that class works, they're like, yeah, this is fine? No, my barbarian can do it. Probably Necro can do it too. Is that what's happening? Because that would at least explain some things. Yeah, do devs only play in Torment 1? Because if all of these things are applying, then what is happening? So yeah, by the way, if I could stop dying, FYI, chat, if I could stop dying, I would be able to definitely do a pit 75 already with golems. So we could finish the seasonal journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I have very good news for you. I know this sounds crazy, and you might be like, what the fuck, Pony? But with a fully maxed out character, right? 12 times masterwork, every item piece sanctified and everything, you would actually be strong enough to finish the seasonal journey. And get yourself a resplendent cache. Now we gotta say one thing, and this is very important, chat. I'm not completely fortified the whole time. And if I actually I am fortified completely the whole time. This is the character that's fortified. So there is a divine gift that actually fortifies you the whole time. Therefore, you also get more heals the whole time. So that's technically making you tankier, right? And you also have like the armor and you have the resistance from the powers. So all of this is actually adding to your toughness. However, I feel like my toughness is up there. I mean, I have 13,000 armor. I have 2,500 resistances. Why are they not enough? I mean, this is 67% reduction, 65% reduction, right? The thing is, even if you get a lot more, so this is now from 2,400 up to 3,000. That's only 4% more, right? That's that. It's not like even a crazy amount more. Thing is, they took all the sources of damage reduction away. Okay, so there used to be tons of damage reduction in the Paragon board, right? Tons of damage reduction, actually. And all that damage reduction is gone and replaced through armor. So if I now go here for damage reduction, where is it? So I have here 12.7 damage reduction for your summons. That's it, right? There's not a single point of damage reduction I'm getting here right now. And the only actual damage reduction I have is from the aspect. That's it. So we got here damage reduction. Obviously, this is the PvP damage reduction here. All damage reduction, 30%. Now, my character from the prior season is more sitting at 50%. Actually, 60, because you got some fortified damage reduction and so on. Yeah. You can get mercenaries. Yeah, I mean, a merc is also more armor, so that's true. If you now go and get yourself a Rahir, that is going to give you another boost in resistance, armor, whatever. So let's get him and see how much more is this. We're sitting at, what was it? We got 2.4. I feel like if I die, it's mostly down to resistances. So here we can get 15 all resistance. That means with a Rahir up now, if I go into an area where Rahir is active, teleport here, pulse to the deceiver. So we're now sitting with the Rahir at 2.6. So that's 71%. And my armor is up to 70. That still feels like it's not enough, right? To be fair, they did say they wanted T4 to be very difficult, even for max players, Crackfire. Yeah, but this is like a completely maxed character, so every piece is sanctified, every piece is 12 times masterworked, every piece is the maximum aspect. I have 200 jiggy majiggy yada yada paragon points, right? So in order to reach this character, it's a significant amount of time invested. And I am barely able to do Torment 4. Barely able, you know? So yes, they said that they wanted this to be hard, and that is not wrong. However, like the disconnect from going from last season to this season is just going to be quite jarring, right? I mean, see, this is my build that can do Pit 75, right? And I have my golems, and they're actually doing their damage to our good old friend here, and we're doing some nice damage. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the Shadow build is better used for bossing than this one. So I'll get him down. But this is not the super pristine experience you wish to have, right? With a build that does billions of damage. Even double-digit billions. Right? And then you die as soon as poison touches you. How many of the builds you've seen played seem good? There's not a single build that does Pit 100 that's not bugged right now. There's not a single build that does Pit 100. Right? I mean, there are builds that are definitely performing somewhat better in certain activities. Like, for example, here, the Shadow Necro. It feels really good versus bosses. It's all about attack speed, though, on the Necro. So I need the perfect pieces for this one as well. How do they expect us to level glyphs? Well, I mean, you can definitely do Pit 55. So Pit 55 is doable with a lot of builds. Still, though, you need to be significantly strong. But again, with Pit 55, you can get your glyphs up to 45, 46. It just takes longer, right? You might not want to do it because it just takes longer. But with Pit 55, you can get your glyphs to legendary. And that's the most important step, because afterwards, sure, you're getting more, but you're not getting that much more. The jump to the legendary is one of the most important ones, right? We can suppose that they prefer a power boost in the expansion. Yeah, possible. Golem does 100 naps. Yeah, but if you use Golem with mythics and everything, I'm pretty sure you can go up to 100. Ow. See, like, we do more damage with the Shadow build, but we can still die also on this build. So this build also has a lot of toughness, chat, right? We have a lot of toughness. Yes, more base toughness than my other build. But sadly, we, by the way, have to play the Unmaker. So if you ever wonder, hey, Pony, why are you playing the Unmaker? It's because I can't keep my... I can't keep my shit up anymore. So, you know when you used to actually be able to completely keep up your Soul Rift? Yeah, that's not happening anymore. You're not able to actually get this running because things changed, right? Changed on cooldown wise and everything. So like I can barely have my Soul Rift actually up right now to be able to have like the full coverage on being able to then spam him. Oh, we do cool damage. I mean, this one does like here 20, 30, 40 billion, so it feels like really good. Naps, the Shielding Storm Golems is weaker than the not Shielding Storm Golems. So yes, you can do Shielding Storm Golems, but it's again weaker. We already tried that. But it is obviously a way to stay alive. So if you want a weaker build that stays more alive, ta-da, you get that, right? It's like, can you do this? Even in PoE2, boss fights are not that long, Dono. That is true. Ja, bitte, mein Schatz. Ah, kannst du extra mich fragen? Ist oben so warm? Aha. Wäre das erlaubt? Noch Schnitzel essen? Okay. So yeah, for our Golem build, we're not using Mythics, right? So because Mythics are like if you throw Mystic at their problem, it's always too easy, if that makes any sense to you. Because Mythics is not the answer. I haven't played the game in a long time. Well, then you're up for a surprise, sir. Are you teaching the little one to play D4? No, but I'm teaching them Photoshop. And I'm teaching them how to make Diablo 4 planners. And recently I had to teach my younger daughter how to use mouse. Because, like, obviously they need to learn how to use a mouse, right? So I was like, I opened up the planner in D4 and I was like, you have to click all the points now, honey. Right? I was like, this is the planner. Here's the mobilytics. So you do this. Here, copy that over. It's cute to see someone that has first and foremost tiny hands, because you know when you have like a tiny hand and you can only do this and you can't just like I need children mice, I guess. Right? How are children even using mice? Like seriously. They're like they don't even have the capacity. No wonder that all these 6-year-olds that are playing Call of Duty are playing on controller. Because of aim assist, obviously. But who lets their 6-year-old also play Call of Duty? Live on stream, right? For hours. For money. It makes sense, but it doesn't have to be. So yeah. My favorite build will definitely be the Golems. But I think with Golem and Shadow Necro, we at least have 2 builds on Necro that are working and that feel good. While obviously, yeah, there's a lot needed. There's a lot needed. So at this point, I think we tested the PTR, the Roly. My opinions are on the changes are pretty set. I'm still going to have fun, but there's a lot that needs to be done for everyone to have fun, right? Will Archmage Necro be viable? Weaker, Vignesh. We tried Archmage Necro. Here, Shadow Wave, Blood Necro, Shadow Necro. Where did we try Archmage again, Chan? It was Shadow Wave. I think the Blood Necro was Archmage. Look, he's Shocketh Chan. Here, that's the Archmage Necro. And we're talking about Hand of Nas, right? We get the we tried out the Soul Rift up. We have the Ring of Mandeln without Ring of Mandeln. The 200% service and sacrifice, obviously. So all that kind of stuff. And you know what? It's not bad. It's not bad, but personal survivability is low. So my toughness here is already the lowest of all my characters. So the Golem Necro at least had like 80,000 toughness. I mean, he has shitty item pieces right now, so this one doesn't have bonus armor or anything, right? So the personal toughness is relatively low on this build, which is kind of bad. Because at least in the Golem Necro, you're sending the Golems forward at every given point. Right? And the minions are doing that. They're doing reasonable damage. See, like I'm... The minions are doing reasonable damage, but yeah, you like you have your skeletons, but you gotta wait like until like here I gotta walk, and then my skeletons are finally coming, right? And then we pull things together, and then they start killing stuff. So then they're good, and then they do reasonable they do reasonable things, and then I gotta run around and avoid getting hit by anything. So there's the problem with this. I mean, obviously the defense is low, and I need to get like here armor. I need to get here's armor on. I need more maximum life because I'm like at 3,500 max life, so you need at least 5,000 max life. But I didn't want to throw item pieces around to that, so it definitely works, but it's weaker than the Golem already because you have to make a stupid choice with this. You have to choose between mages to attack twice, ultimate cooldown reduction, and actually the imprint for skeletal mage damage. So right now I have skeletal mage damage here and skeletal mage damage there, right? You also need to make sure to have enough attack speed and critical strike chance, because right now we're sitting at what? We have 30% here, and we have 100% attack speed. That's good, but you actually want more than 100% attack speed, so you really got to get attack speed on everything and greater affix attack speed on that kind of stuff. And then, obviously, max life, armor, resistance optimally on every single item piece, right? I mean, this one has maximum resource resistance, cult resistance, all that kind of stuff. If you look at my toughness here, we're sitting at 2,000 through the bench and only 12,000 here. But, like, actually, this is not less toughness than what's going on, right? I mean, toughness-wise, the values are the same. We're just missing the 30% damage reduction from the chest piece, right? And yet I'm still dying. So if I obviously had the 30% damage reduction, that would be a good thing. However, like, the value is weird because this says 30,000 despite being more or less the same mileage as the other character. Is enchanting also changed that when you want to replace an affix does not cost million or more? So 288,000, 433,000, 577, 722, 866, blah, 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 1 millions. So the cost is still the same. However, the resources are different because it's only Forgotten Souls now. So instead of being all the different kind of resources, it is only Forgotten Souls. And that's kind of nice. So you're at least just losing money, Forgotten Souls, but you're not using Veiled Crystals. That means that when I now want to enchant an item, I need also Forgotten Souls. Okay. And if I want to masterwork, though, I need here Opticide, Forgotten Souls, and Coil Crystals. For tempering, I need Forgotten Souls. So the Veiled Crystals, I don't actually know what we need them for at this point anymore. I mean, you need them early on, I think, for like earlier for not greater affixed items. That's where you need the Veiled Crystals. But then later, you only need Forgotten Souls, pretty much. Are you avoiding mercs for testing purpose? I don't have Variana unlocked. Yeah. I don't have Variana unlocked. However, Nabs, it's good that obviously mercs are helping you with survivability, but how can it be that I can't survive without a merc, right? So I like, we all know, we all understand that this is obviously nice, but let's be fair. How does it work currently? Yes, I can boost my resistance in current season 7, or I can boost my armor or whatsoever. But I don't require to do it. So does that mean if I don't have a merc, I can't play the game anymore? This is like, that's the thing, right? So are you telling me as you say, like it would improve your survivability. That's nice, right? But what if I don't have the expansion? What does that mean then? Also, if I need my Rahir to stay alive, what happens if I play with a friend? Right? If Rahir is needed, if Variana is needed to stay alive, or help with survivability, what happens if I play with a friend? And monsters are just blasting me then. Because my resistance is gone or my armor is gone. What then? So am I not supposed to play with others? You know what I mean? What's the response been on the creator Discord right now? I mean, the creators obviously try to make things work as I try to make things work. There is a lot of feedback on not enough power and the power generally being too low. I'm not going to bore you with general class-specific feedback, but like the power being too low. People are not happy with sanctification, that's for sure. Temporary masterworking is mostly people are okay with, apart from masterworking being a bit on the iffier side because of the missing power. Yeah, the creators are fighting back. Be aware of that. A blood spell Necro is still bad. Blood wave is working, Susanoo. The problem is that they nerfed the amount of blood orbs that are coming out. So unless you have the perfect cooldown reduction, which is hard to get, and you have the perfect aspect of fast blood, you're not going to be able to play blood wave. Is Barbarian bad this season? No, Barbarian is insane and hitting for trillions, but only with one single item. So Barbarian is bad without that. Right now, it's really hard to say anything about personal power and comparison to other classes because there needs to be things done, right? It's not okay the way it is. That's it. Okay, chat. That being said, as I was just beginning to, I pretty much wrap up the PTR here for me. We have tested everything. We're going to drop you 2 more videos on all the classes and also on the Necromancer specifically. But I don't think like playing any more PTR will do anything for me because I know what's happening, right? I know how things are supposed to be or not supposed to be. So I'd say we're done for today. Thank you very much for coming and watching. I will keep you updated on what's happening on the creator Discord though, so don't worry about that. But we'll probably play a different game tomorrow. Something that's not Diablo 4. Because, well, we did the PTR now, so it's time to move over 4 different games on live stream wise. Until we finally get Season 11 though, because going season is over. So thank you very much for coming and watching so far. And we'll be able to get you some other games now. We played some Hades 2. We got some Outer Worlds coming probably. Vampire Bloodlines was skipped. We might do PoE 1, but I'm not sure about that because I really don't like PoE 1. But it gets a new season, and tonight is big news, so we'll see about that. Maybe some Mega Bonk. Could be 2. Thomas. Don't like the graphics too much. Prefer Hades. We'll see. A lot of games are coming, though. I hope to see you there as well. I'm done for today, so take care. And I wish you a great rest of your day.